After the ribbon-cutting ceremony, Alice Taylor took her script and went for her costume and makeup fitting. Since it was a contemporary drama, the makeup was simple. Ethan Young had also finalized things with the director over the past few days. As the investor, screenwriter, and male lead, his opinion carried a lot of weight. People had to listen whether they wanted to or not. When Alice Taylor's makeup was done, it looked just right. She stood with her hands on her hips, looking partly pleased and partly mischievous. The movie, Coward, tells the story of a man who loses his memory after an accident. When he wakes up, he discovers a female ghost has appeared in his house, visible only to him. The ghost clings to him, saying she'll only leave if he helps her complete her wish list. Wish number 1. See a hot guy with abs wearing cat ears do crunches. Wish number 2. Get a dog. Wish number 3. Wear a wedding dress once. Wish number 4. To be revealed later. Determined to get rid of the ghost, the male lead diligently fulfills her wishes. He starts exercising, going to bed early and waking up early. His originally frail body becomes healthier and stronger, gaining muscle and eventually developing 8-pack abs. The male lead goes from being initially terrified to getting used to her presence. He starts burning offerings for her, pretty clothes, skincare products, fried chicken, hamburgers. He goes on adventures with the ghost, hiking, bungee jumping, swimming at the beach. He finds himself falling in love with the ghost. Later, while trying to uncover the truth about her death, he unexpectedly regains his memory. The ghost before him is actually his girlfriend, whom he had loved for many years. Devastated by her death, he had let himself go, becoming depressed, neglecting his health, and falling ill. His girlfriend appeared as a ghost simply because she wanted him to get healthy again and return to a normal life. In the end, the male lead helps the police catch the serial killer, but his girlfriend is about to disappear. I'm a coward. I'm scared of ghosts, but I'm even more scared of losing you. Even if I lost my memory, even if you became a ghost, I would fall in love with you all over again. I'm a coward, but I'm not afraid of death. I'm only afraid I can't be with you. My love, forgetting me is the best blessing I can give you. So, my 4th wish is for you to be happy. The story ends with her disappearing before his eyes, wearing the wedding dress. The plot is straightforward, comedic and lighthearted at the beginning, turning into a thriller with detective elements in the middle and culminating in a final twist. It's the kind of story well-suited for the current market, delivered through strong visuals and physical acting, with a fast, exciting pace, all presented in under a couple of hours. The two directors spent every free moment brainstorming scenes and scouting locations. Hank Harrison handled the visual composition, while Liam Lawrence oversaw the plot. The pair got along increasingly well, acting as if they'd known each other for years and regretted not meeting sooner. Ethan Young also had his makeup finalized, portraying the male lead's injured state later in the script, complete with blood on his face and a shattered look in his eyes. In that moment, the character description became real. He looked as if he'd stepped right out of the pages. Alice Taylor caught a glimpse of him and was stunned. It required almost no acting. Ethan Young, just standing there, was the male lead. Alice Taylor stared for several seconds before snapping out of it. Once she collected herself, she felt a wave of embarrassment. How could she possibly be attracted to Ethan Young? Good looks are useless, she thought. Actors rely mainly on skill. A pretty face is wasted with bad acting. Besides, a face like Ethan Young's might not even hold up on the big screen. Alice Taylor was quickly proven wrong. Under the high-definition camera, Ethan Young's features were sharp and well-defined, perfect for close-ups. Alice Taylor stewed silently. Soon, it was lunchtime. Ethan Young changed out of his costume and told the director, Liam Lawrence, I have something to take care of this afternoon, so I'm leaving now. It's time for lunch. Aren't you staying to eat? Liam Lawrence asked. Ethan Young politely declined. No thanks, you guys go ahead. Since he put it that way, the director couldn't insist. Once Ethan Young left, the director sent the cast and crew off to lunch. Alice Taylor looked around, but couldn't see Ethan Young anywhere. Annoyed, she asked, Where's Ethan Young? Why isn't he here? Liam Lawrence plopped down beside her. He had something to do, so he left early. So, when's he coming back? He's not coming back today. What? Alice Taylor slammed her chopsticks down, angry. We're all here memorizing lines, discussing the script, rehearsing scenes, and he just leaves whenever he feels like it? By now, Alice Taylor's impression of Ethan Young was that he was just a pretty face, all looks, no substance, and terrible at acting. You don't need to worry about that, Liam Lawrence said. He knows the lines and the plot better than anyone. Alice Taylor didn't buy it, thinking Liam Lawrence was just exaggerating. I don't know what magic spell Ethan Young cast on you to make you trust him so much, Alice scoffed. Liam Lawrence just smiled, putting on an air of mystery. It's not up to me to say if he's good or not. You'll find out when you actually act opposite him. He really is a very good actor. You just have too much prejudice against him. If you don't believe me, you can check out his previous work. I'm not watching anything. I'm not interested in him, Alice Taylor retorted, though inwardly, her curiosity was growing. Halfway through lunch, she got a video call from Serena Sinclair. Alice Taylor got up and found a quiet spot to answer the call. Serena, you called me 3 times this morning. Is something urgent? No, not really urgent. On the video call, Serena Sinclair was in her pajamas, her hair messy, eyes red, and she looked pale. Serena, are you sick? You look exhausted. Serena Sinclair opened her mouth to speak, but Sophia Sullivan's voice cut in from beside her. Your friend Serena is in a bad mood, and she's been sick these past few days. A bad mood? Alice Taylor asked with concern. Serena, what's wrong? Sophia Sullivan squeezed into the frame next to Serena Sinclair, cutting in. Her dog ran away. Alice Taylor blinked. Huh? Serena, when did you get a dog? How come I didn't know? On screen, Sophia Sullivan patted Serena Sinclair's head and sighed. There's a lot you don't know. Well, should we put out a lost dog notice? Alice asked. I have a lot of followers on Weibo. We could pay to get it trending, and I can ask some friends to share it too. Serena, do you have a picture of the dog? What kind was it? How long has it been missing? Serena Sinclair remained silent, looking glum. Sophia Sullivan answered for her. That dog bites. It's better off lost. No need to post anything. But Serena looks really upset. Alice said, wouldn't you be? After raising it for a whole 5-year contract, Sophia Sullivan quipped. The hidden meaning was lost on Alice Taylor, who only grew more confused, but Serena Sinclair understood perfectly. Serena Sinclair grabbed the phone back. Enough about the dog. Tell me how you're doing lately. Alice Taylor scratched her head. I'm doing pretty well. I just got cast in a movie. How's the team? Serena asked. It's all right. Alice Taylor had initially planned to ask about Ethan Young, but seeing Serena so upset about her dog, she decided to drop it for now, not wanting to make her feel worse. Well, Serena, you get some rest. I won't bother you, Alice said. Okay, I'm about to get up and change. I have to go meet your brother later, Serena replied. Alice teased, oh, going on a date. All right, that's enough. I'm hanging up now, Serena Sinclair said quickly and ended the call. For the past couple of days, Serena Sinclair had been staying at Sophia Sullivan's place. Whenever Sophia had a free moment, she tried to counsel Serena, telling her not to waste her time and energy on Ethan Young. Ethan Young was insignificant, Sophia insisted. Without Serena, he couldn't make any waves. The person Serena should be focusing on was Lucas Taylor. After all, he was the one she actually liked. The person Serena Sinclair liked was Lucas Taylor, but she just couldn't let things go with Ethan Young. She didn't want to let Ethan Young off the hook. She wanted him to regret everything, to pay the price for what he'd said and done. Whenever Ethan Young was mentioned, Serena Sinclair struggled to control her emotions, acting completely self-righteous, as if Ethan Young was the one who had wronged her regarding the 5-year contract. Ethan Young called Zara Sinclair, starting immediately with an apology. Sorry to keep you waiting. I'm heading over now. Are you at home or the office? Zara Sinclair replied. I'm still at the office. Are you coming to pick me up? Yeah, I'll come get you. Zara Sinclair gave him the address. Ethan Young checked the navigation. Be there in half an hour. I'll let the front desk know. Just come straight up to the president's office on the 22nd floor. I'm busy in a meeting. Okay, you go ahead. Ethan Young stopped by a dessert shop and bought cake and milk tea. By the time he reached the company building, it was already noon, and Zara Sinclair's meeting hadn't ended yet. The receptionist didn't recognize Ethan Young, but after he gave his name, she smiled brightly and led him to the elevator, swiping her card. The president's office is on the top floor. Don't get lost. Ethan Young nodded politely. Just as he stepped into the elevator, he heard a voice from outside. Why can he go up, but I can't? The receptionist sounded troubled. Sir, you don't have an appointment. I already told you. I know you're President Sinclair. The Taylor family even has a partnership with your company recently. If you won't let me up, fine, but why won't you at least call and ask for me? The receptionist maintained a polite smile. President Sinclair is in a meeting and unavailable to take calls. The elevator doors slowly closed, but not before Ethan Young saw the man's face, Lucas Taylor. Just then, Lucas Taylor looked over, his face etched with impatience, his brow dark with frustration. He had been waiting downstairs for half an hour, just hoping to ask Zara Sinclair to lunch. He hadn't seen her once since returning to the country. She didn't reply to his telegram messages, didn't answer his calls. It was enough to test anyone's patience. Lucas Taylor suppressed his anger, reminding himself not to lose his temper here and ruin his image. Taking a couple of deep breaths, he turned and went back to the waiting area. The coffee in front of him was completely cold. He took a gulp. It was so bitter it made his tongue ache. He stared towards the elevators, the image of the man who had just gone up flashing in his mind. Who was he? Why was the receptionist so accommodating to him? Was he some big shot? It had been just a fleeting glance. He hadn't gotten a clear look at the man's face, only noticing his height and clothes. Perhaps it was a natural male competitiveness, but Lucas Taylor felt an instinctive hostility towards this stranger. Finishing his coffee, Lucas Taylor went back to the front desk. Who was that man who just went up? The receptionist adopted a strictly professional demeanor. We cannot disclose information regarding President Sinclair's private affairs. Lucas Taylor said, just tell me quietly, I won't tell anyone. The receptionist remained silent. Lucas Taylor decided to probe. Is he a business partner? The more reluctant the receptionist was to speak, the more anxious he felt. Zara Sinclair was already 28, and he'd heard the Sinclair family was recently looking for potential suitors for her. If she met someone she liked, he wouldn't stand a chance. Back when they were abroad, his busy academic schedule meant he rarely got to see Zara Sinclair. Now that he had finally finished his studies and followed her back, it was still the same situation. Lucas Taylor could only console himself with the thought that persistence pays off when pursuing a woman. He was outstanding in looks, academics, and family background. Otherwise, Serena Sinclair wouldn't have been smitten with him for so many years. When will Zara finish her meeting? When is she coming down? She probably hasn't eaten yet at this hour, right? Maybe I should order her some takeout? Has she been ordering takeout recently? What does she like to eat? What restaurants does she frequent? Lucas Taylor remembered the man who went up seemed to be carrying milk tea and cake, though he didn't know who they were for. The receptionist kept smiling, but was becoming increasingly dismissive. Seeing her stonewalling, Lucas Taylor grew furious. When he and Zara Sinclair got together, the first thing he'd do was fire this receptionist. Lucas Taylor hadn't eaten breakfast and had been starving all morning. Irritable now, he opened a map app on his phone and searched for nearby milk tea and cake shops. The closest one was just 200 meters away. Lucas Taylor followed the navigation, and once he confirmed the location, he started walking, calling his sister, Jessica Taylor, on the way. The phone rang a dozen times before she picked up. As soon as she answered, Lucas Taylor couldn't help but complain. Sis, why'd it take you so long to answer? What is it? I'm eating lunch. Sensing her brother's bad mood, Jessica Taylor immediately softened her tone. What's wrong? Who made my little brother unhappy? Lucas Taylor kicked a small stone at his feet. Sis, have you seen Zara lately? Not yet. She just got back and is swamped with work. Even I have to wait in line to see her. But I should be meeting her in the next couple of days. Why are you suddenly asking about Zara Sinclair? It's nothing. I was just thinking about how she took care of me abroad. Helped me a lot. I wanted to treat her to a meal, but she's too busy, and I haven't been able to reach her. So I thought I'd ask you. Lucas Taylor probed. Sis, when you meet with Zara, can you bring me along? Jessica Taylor said. Bring you for what? We're talking business, not going out to have fun. Afraid of missing the chance, Lucas Taylor quickly added. I won't disturb your work. Dad wants me to join the company soon, right? I want to shadow you first and get familiar with the business. Come on, sis, please say yes. I promise I won't cause any trouble. Jessica Taylor relented. All right, fine. I'll let you know beforehand. Lucas Taylor was instantly delighted. Thanks, sis. Hanging up, Lucas Taylor looked up and saw the milk tea shop. He got in the back of the line, ordered 2 classic milk teas, and added the 2 most expensive mini cakes from menu. The staff prepared the milk tea quickly. It felt warm in his hands. Carrying the milk tea and cake, he headed back the way he came. Just as he reached the company entrance, he saw Zara Sinclair's car drive past him. Zara. Lucas Taylor chased after it for a few steps, but how could 2 legs possibly catch 4 wheels? Not only did he fail to catch up, but he also dropped the milk tea from the bag. Lucas Taylor stopped, frantically pulling out his phone to call Zara Sinclair. The call connected, but she immediately declined it. Staring at the mess on the ground, Lucas Taylor clenched his phone tightly and furiously stomped on the cake still inside the bag. He shouldn't have bothered buying the cake and milk tea in the first place. Driving, Ethan Young glanced in the rearview mirror. I think I heard someone calling your name back there. Really? You probably misheard. Zara Sinclair maintained her usual calm demeanor. Just as she finished speaking, her phone rang. Zara Sinclair glanced at the caller ID and immediately rejected the call. Who was that? No one important. Ethan Young raised an eyebrow. He had seen clearly. The person outside was Lucas Taylor. Ethan Young recognized him instantly, thanks to Serena Sinclair. Over the years, to play the role of the stand-in properly, Serena Sinclair had shown him countless photos of Lucas Taylor. But Why was Lucas Taylor here? Wasn't he Serena, Sinclair's fiancé? Zara Sinclair unwrapped the cake Ethan Young had brought her. It wasn't large, just the right size for one person, but she liked to share. Want some cake? No, thanks. Seeing her start to eat, Ethan Young slowed down, making the car ride smoother. But I don't like strawberries. Could you eat this for me? Zara wiped her hands, then plucked the strawberry off the cake and held it to Ethan's lips. She frowned slightly, her eyes shimmering, making it impossible to refuse. Ethan opened his mouth, keeping his eyes on the road. Zara popped the strawberry in, her fingers brushing against his lower lip. Whether intentionally or not, he couldn't tell. Ethan sat up straighter, his expression as solemn as if he were taking an oath, and quickly chewed and swallowed the strawberry. Zara stared at him intently. Well, was it good? He'd barely tasted it, like a famous character from folklore gobbling down a precious ginseng fruit without savoring it. Delicious. Good. From now on, the strawberries are all yours. Do you really not like strawberries at all? Zara scooped up a spoonful of cake, a knowing, meaningful smile playing on her lips. Oh, I eat them. I just don't like these kinds of strawberries. Besides strawberries, what fruits do you like? Bayberries, blueberries, cherries. And on cakes, I like the yellow peaches. Ethan made a mental note. A dab of cream got on her finger. Zara quietly lifted it to her lips and licked it off. Ethan happened to see it, realizing it was the same hand she'd used to feed him the strawberry just moments before. Zara liked to wear glasses when she worked. The cool lenses added an intimidating air. But whenever she met Ethan, she took them off, revealing beautiful, expressive eyes, upturned slightly at the corners. When she smiled, they curved like crescents. When she wasn't speaking, she would just watch quietly, focused and attentive. Has Grandma would eaten lunch yet? Ethan glanced at the time. It was almost 1. She already ate. Let's find a place for a quick bite first. Then we'll head to Seabreeze General Hospital after. In the meantime, you should think about what you're going to call me when you see Grandma. Ethan hadn't switched yet, still habitually calling her Miss Sinclair. If he called her that in front of Grandma Wood, their cover would definitely be blown. Calling her by her first name felt too distant, but wife was far too intimate, and he couldn't bring himself to say it yet. After thinking it over, Ethan finally said Zara. Plenty of people called her that, but hearing it from Ethan's lips sent a jolt through her. Is it okay if I call you Zara? Ethan asked first, rather than just using the name. Yes, just don't forget. To ensure he wouldn't forget, Ethan spent the rest of the drive muttering Zara under his breath, forcing the change. It even slipped out when they were ordering. Zara asked him what he wanted to eat, and he blurted out, Zara. They stared at each other, then looked away under the amused gaze of the waiter. Ethan quickly took the menu and ordered several dishes he knew Zara liked. Seeing him trying hard to stay composed, Zara couldn't help but want to smile. She wasn't usually picky about food. Anything that filled her stomach was fine, but seeing that Ethan had ordered all her favorites, a warm feeling spread through her. She decided to stop teasing him for now. Zara rested her chin on her hand, watching the man across from her. Maybe he didn't like her yet, but that was okay. She had plenty of time and ways. After lunch, they drove to Seabreeze General Hospital. Grandma Wood was napping in the sun. Hearing noises, she squinted towards the sound. When she saw it was Zara and Ethan, her eyes widened with delight. Ethan took Zara's hand. Grandma, Zara and I came to see you. Grandma Wood's eyes fixed on their tightly clasped hands, afraid her old eyes were deceiving her. You too, are you? Zara casually looped her arm through Ethan's, leaning affectionately against his shoulder. Grandma, we're together now. Grandma Wood had always hoped they would get together, but now that the day had actually arrived, she found it hard to believe. Really? You're not just saying that to make an old woman happy, are you? Honestly, the old lady's intuition was spot on. Zara tightened her hold on Ethan's arm affectionately. Grandma, you're the one who tied this red string between us, remember? Why don't you believe it? Besides, do I seem like the type to lie just to make you happy? Grandma would look them over scrutinizingly. When did you get together? The day before yesterday, Zara said. So fast, Grandma would exclaimed. You've known each other less than a week. Zara glanced up at Ethan. It was love at first sight for me. Ethan almost broke character. His recently calmed heart suddenly beat faster. Grandma would ask, have you gotten to know each other properly? Zara smiled. Isn't that what you're here for, Grandma? Helping us get acquainted? Aren't you happy that we're together? Of course I'm happy, Grandma would said immediately. Then why aren't you smiling? Grandma would force a smile that didn't quite reach her eyes and took Ethan's hand. Ethan, be honest with me. Are you too serious? Zara hasn't been giving you a hard time, has she? Are you doing this willingly? His heartbeat was erratic, but Ethan's expression remained calm. I'm serious. I like Zara. I was the one who pursued her. Was it love at first sight for you too? Ethan nodded firmly. Yes. Beside them, Zara pouted, crouching beside her grandmother like a child. Grandma, just last week you were praising my figure and saying how handsome Ethan is, calling us a perfect match. Now you sound like I forced him into this. Zara usually projected an image of strength and maturity, but in front of her grandmother, she could be playful and act cute, forever the granddaughter who never grew up. He found himself captivated by this side of her, unable to look away. Grandma would gently tap Zara's head. Well, things move so quickly, I have to ask, don't I? Grandma, young people these days get together as soon as they click. Whirlwind romances and shotgun weddings are everywhere. We're actually taking it slow. Grandma Wood was quite accepting. She was pleasantly surprised rather than shocked, feeling like a pie had just fallen from the sky into her lap. For years, whenever marriage came up, Zara would brush her off. Growing up, Zara never had any male friends, and as an adult, she threw herself entirely into work. Zara had always attracted male attention. She received love letters constantly in school and was often featured on confession boards, but she simply wasn't interested in dating. Later, when Zara went abroad, Grandma would heard that homosexuality was common in country, why, and even wondered if Zara might like women. That would have been fine too. She didn't insist on Zara getting married. She was just afraid Zara would be alone after she was gone. Zara had a cool personality, wasn't close to her parents, and didn't have any particularly close friends. Right now, Zara could still talk to her if something was wrong. But who would Zara talk to once she passed away? Who would take care of her if she got sick? But more than anything, she didn't want to see Zara compromise herself just to get married. Eyes don't lie, though. Grandma would observe them carefully. Precisely because Zara had a cool personality, she couldn't fake this. Taking the initiative to hold Ethan's hand, tentatively getting closer, that was proof enough of her affection for him. And the way Ethan treated Zara was different from how he treated others. Subtle differences often decided everything. Looking at the young couple she had helped bring together, she grew increasingly pleased. At this rate, maybe she really would be holding a great-grandchild next year. At first, Grandma would suspected they were pulling her leg, so she asked for some details, like who asked him out first. Ethan Young, having prepared his story, readily admitted, I pursued Zara first. I fell for her. How much did he like her? Grandma would tested him several times. He knew where Zara Sinclair worked, what food she liked, what flowers she preferred. Finally, she found out they were already living together. The pace was faster than Grandma would have expected. She had already approved of Ethan Young as her grandson-in-law and trusted him. But if forced to choose favorites, she naturally favored her own granddaughter. She was also aware of Ethan Young's family situation, both parents deceased and a sick sister, Emily Young. It was a heartbreaking story. So, she specifically told Zara Sinclair to arrange for someone to take good care of his sister, help out as much as possible, and if practical help wasn't feasible, then offer emotional support. Since they were dating and planning to marry, they needed to support each other. Zara Sinclair wanted to bring her grandmother home to recuperate, but Grandma would refuse. You two are living together. What would I do moving in? Be a third wheel? That wouldn't be right. Besides, I'm perfectly comfortable here. I get professional, nutritious meals every day. Someone looks after me 24 hours. Doctors and nurses can check on me anytime, and they provide whatever I need. Nurse Wilson chats with me. And in the afternoon, she pushes me outside for some sun and exercise. I feel very free here. You just focus on living well with Ethan Young and nurturing your relationship. Don't just go to work and stay home all day. You need to get out more. You worked so hard abroad for so many years, finally came back, and jumped right back into the company without even resting. You should take some time off, let Ethan Young take you out, travel a bit, go shopping. Grandma Wood rambled on, saying that traveling together is the best test of character. If a couple gets along well on a trip, they can get married when they return. If not, they'll likely break up halfway through. Zara Sinclair snuggled beside her grandmother and nodded. Okay, Grandma, I understand. Who said staying at Pinecrest Rehabilitation Center was uncomfortable? With enough money, you could be comfortable anywhere. Grandma would have spent most of her time in rehabilitation centers over the years. This place was practically her second home. Grandma Wood remembered something. Zara Sinclair, you've been back for a while now. Why hasn't the family thrown you a welcome gala? Did your parents not mention it? I thought it was too much trouble and didn't want one. With all you've achieved abroad, they really should have held a celebration banquet for you to help you establish your position in the Sinclair group. If they really held one, wouldn't that basically announce her as the successor to the Sinclair group? Would the Sinclair family be willing to slight Serena Sinclair like that? Mr. and Mrs. Sinclair had actually suggested a welcome gala for Zara, thinking they could combine it with Serena Sinclair's upcoming birthday. Zara refused point-blank, trying to use her achievements to put Serena in the spotlight. Dream on. Zara Sinclair suppressed her emotions, stood up, and started massaging her grandmother's shoulders. You don't need to worry about these things, Grandma. Welcome galas, celebration banquets, birthday galas. They're all boring. If you ask me, a wedding banquet is the best kind. Right now, the most important thing is for you to rest and get well. When the time comes, it won't just be my wedding banquet. Maybe soon there'll be a baby's full moon celebration too. All sorts of banquets waiting for you. When that happens, Grandma, I'll need you to help me manage everything. This cheered Grandma would up. Well then, you two had better work hard on that. Grandma would knew perfectly well that her son and daughter-in-law favored Serena Sinclair. Mr. and Mrs. Sinclair had an arranged marriage and weren't in love afterward. The couple treated marriage and having children like tasks. While Mrs. Sinclair was pregnant with Zara, Mr. Sinclair even had an affair. Born into such circumstances, Zara Sinclair naturally wasn't favored. She was neglected after birth until Arthur Sinclair couldn't stand it anymore and took her in. When she was first brought to Sinclair Manor, Zara Sinclair was thin and scrawny, like a little monkey. It took a long time for her grandmother to nurse her back to health and chubby cheeks. During that time, Mr. and Mrs. Sinclair didn't even call once, as if they'd completely forgotten about their daughter. 2 years later, Mr. Sinclair reformed his ways, and Mrs. Sinclair gradually developed feelings for him. Serena Sinclair was born when their love was at its peak, becoming their precious daughter. Zara, meanwhile, became the unwanted reminder of their difficult past. Fortunately, Zara Sinclair didn't care, nor did she have any desire to return to a home like that. Her grandmother gave her health, and her grandfather taught her self-respect, self-love, and not to let herself be wronged. He also taught her to be strong, because only by being strong could she easily obtain the thing she desired. Thinking of this, Zara Sinclair involuntarily glanced at Ethan Young, incredibly grateful for her grandfather's past teachings. That afternoon, Ethan Young and Zara Sinclair stayed with Grandma Wood, talking and chatting. To reassure Grandma Wood so she could rest and take care of herself, Ethan repeatedly promised he would treat Zara well. Meanwhile, to keep up the pretense, Zara Sinclair constantly stuck close to Ethan Young, proactively holding his hand, leaning on his shoulder, whispering in his ear, and adjusting his collar. Their whole demeanor was that of a couple deeply in love. Ethan Young inwardly marveled at Zara Sinclair's acting. It was better than his flawless, absolutely perfect. She effortlessly drew her scene partner into the act, making his heart race. Zara Sinclair also talked a bit about work, giving Ethan Young a general understanding of the current situation within the Sinclair family. The Sinclairs only had 2 daughters, and the family fortune would eventually go to them. The question was how much each would get, and whether it would be divided fairly. Clearly, the Sinclairs weren't capable of fairness. Anything Zara wanted, she would have to fight for herself. That's why she had spent years abroad expanding markets to prove herself. Yet, upon her return, her father still hadn't relinquished control. Instead, he pitted the 2 sisters against each other in competition, testing their abilities. The Sinclair group had diverse interests: an entertainment company, deluxe hotel, Sinclair food supermarkets, real estate. The annual stock dividends were astronomical. Under the guise of letting the most capable lead, Mr. Sinclair assigned 2 different business areas to Zara and Serena. Serena was put in charge of managing the media and entertainment projects, while Zara was assigned to Sinclair Foods. Sinclair Media Group productions were highly valued projects within the company, consistently profitable each year. As for Sinclair Foods, the Sinclair family had originally started in the food industry, founded solely by Arthur Sinclair. But over the years, various problems had arisen. First, there were rumors of plasticizers in their milk, then claims their ham sausages were made from rat meat, and that the oil in their spicy strips was gutter oil. Food safety concerns were amplified, and rumors and slander about unnatural additives and harsh chemicals grew increasingly common. The company issued multiple clarifications, but couldn't salvage its reputation from the negative press. Added to this were the endless viral food trends emerging over the years. The brand inevitably suffered from an aging image. The children who once ate these snacks had grown up, and the taste wasn't the same for them anymore. The consumer base dwindled, with younger people preferring brands endorsed by celebrities. A product line that didn't keep up with the times was bound to exit the market and declare bankruptcy eventually. Facing the problem of a shrinking market, Mr. Sinclair hadn't considered any solutions. nor was he willing to spend much money on it. So, using the test as an excuse, he brazenly dumped this mess onto Zara Sinclair, demanding she turn the food company around and meet profitability targets within a 5-year contract. In this test, whoever earned more would be qualified to become the Sinclair family heir. This wasn't just favoritism, it was deliberate obstruction. How can you even talk about fairness when we're not even starting from the same place? They could have just handed the opportunity to Serena Sinclair, but no, they had to put on this whole fake show of fair competition. Honestly, as long as Serena doesn't screw things up and just keeps things as they are, she's basically guaranteed to win. Look at Zara Sinclair, on the other hand. A food company on the brink of collapse, practically dead in the water. What's she supposed to save it with? She'd be better off selling it for seed money. There's simply no comparison in market value. Zara's doomed to fail and give up her position. Mr. and Mrs. Sinclair just want her to see how impossible it is and back down, content to be just a regular shareholder whose only future role is to help Serena Sinclair. Everyone expected Zara Sinclair to throw a fit, but instead, she just signed a performance-based contract right away. Zara Sinclair grew up eating these snacks. She couldn't stand by and watch the brand her grandfather built from scratch just disappear. Sinclair Foods has been out of the public eye for far too long. Bringing it back won't be easy. Plus, over the years, they replaced some of the long-time employees, and the taste just hasn't been the same since. On top of that, competing brands have swooped in, stealing their market share. Getting shelf space in supermarkets costs money, slotting fees, and where is a company losing money supposed to find that kind of cash? It's a market economy, competition within the industry, survival of the fittest. Simple as that. For the past few days, Zara Sinclair has been buried in proposals and research, trying every possible angle to save the company. She doesn't want to lose, and she refuses to give up. Zara Sinclair hadn't mentioned any of these troubles to Grandma Wood. Over the years, she'd gotten into the habit of only sharing the good news, never the bad. At the mention of the food company, a nostalgic look crossed Grandma Wood's face. Your grandfather knew I loved these kinds of snacks ever since I was a little girl, so he started the company. He wanted me to be able to eat them without worry, so none of the snacks had any strange additives. They tasted so good. It's just, these days my teeth aren't what they used to be. I can't eat anything too hard. And the doctor has me on a strict diet. Nothing too oily, too salty, or too sweet. Ethan Young finally understood why Grandma would love snacks and sweets so much. It wasn't just about the taste. It was sentimental. Every time she ate them, it reminded her of Arthur Sinclair, who had passed away. Ethan Young listened quietly, thinking intently. He knew the company. He used to eat their snacks all the time as a kid, but he hadn't seen them around much as he got older. He remembered the gutter oil scandal online years ago. Sinclair Foods got caught up in it, and even though they were later cleared, the public perception never really recovered. After that, Sinclair Foods shifted focus from snacks to frozen foods. Pot stickers, sweet dumplings, buns, you name it. They expanded their product line, but the losses just kept mounting. It was hard to imagine how anyone could turn such a disaster around. Leaving Seabreeze General Hospital, Ethan Young suggested they stop by the supermarket to pick up some groceries. Not wanting to attract attention, they both put on masks. Ethan Young pushed the cart, and after searching through aisles of shelves, they finally found products from the Sinclair family's own food company, Jia, tucked away in an obscure corner. Ethan Young proceeded to buy every single Jia snack on the shelf, plus their frozen products too. Why did you buy so much? Zara Sinclair had only turned away for a moment, but when she looked back, Ethan Young had already filled the entire shopping cart. It was piled high like a small mountain. Why on earth did you buy so much food? Zara Sinclair teased. Anyone would think you were stocking up for the apocalypse. She stepped closer to see what exactly he grabbed, only to realize it was all Jia products. Zara Sinclair suddenly had an inkling of what Ethan Young was up to, but she couldn't be certain. Why did you buy all this? Is it because of what I mentioned back at Seabreeze General Hospital? Asterisk, was this his way of trying to comfort her? The best support anyone could give a failing food company was to buy its products, stock up. But Ethan Young was just one person. He couldn't save the company no matter how much he bought. Asterisk, I just wanted to try them again, Ethan Young said. It's the taste of my childhood, too. He wouldn't admit the real reason, but Zara Sinclair understood his gesture anyway. It was a rather heavy gesture, though. Carrying it all would be difficult for just the two of them. Fortunately, after checking out, they had the option of arranging for the supermarket to deliver it. That evening, Ethan Young prepared some of the food they'd bought. He made a little bit of everything, planning to taste test it all to figure out whether the problem lay with the products themselves or if the marketing was just off. Ethan Young firmly believed that if the food was good, people would buy it. The taste test revealed some items were fine, while others had serious issues, particularly the instant and frozen products. Ethan Young occasionally bought pre-made food himself. He knew most of the steamed buns sold in supermarkets were pre-packaged and a far cry from freshly made ones. As for the instant meals like the noodles and hot and sour soup mixes, the flavor variety was limited to common supermarket staples, and the quality, both the texture of the noodles and the contents of the flavor packets, couldn't compare to the leading brands. The very first instant noodles Ethan Young had ever eaten as a kid were Jia brand. He remembered the taste distinctly. He took one bite and immediately knew something was off. "This doesn't taste right," he said. Seeing Ethan Young's serious expression, Zara Sinclair picked up a pair of chopsticks and took a bite from his bowl. Right then, their attention was solely on the noodles. The fact they were eating from the same bowl didn't create any sense of intimacy. The noodles were limp and lacked any spring, like they'd been soaking in cold water for ages. The flavor was overwhelmingly salty, with a bitter aftertaste. As the noodles cooled, a layer of grease congealed on the surface, making each bite more unpleasant than the last. Zara Sinclair's face grew stony. She went through and tasted every snack Ethan Young had opened. It had been a long time since she'd eaten them, but she knew, deep down, this wasn't how they were supposed to taste. No wonder sales had plummeted. It wasn't just the stiff market competition. The main reason was that the products tasted awful now. Someone had been cutting corners, skimping on ingredients. The ingredient list might look the same, but the quality had clearly been downgraded, substituting cheap, low-grade oil for decent cooking oil, using cheap meat trimmings instead of quality cuts. She couldn't even finish half the instant noodles. The buns, the shumai, the wontons, the meat pastries. Anything containing meat was practically inedible. Zara Sinclair frowned deeply, her breathing heavy. When she'd left the country, the company's profits hadn't been stellar, but it was at least breaking even, not operating at a loss. Product quality had been steadily declining, bad reviews piling up, and clearly, the Sinclair family had let it slide. Some people had gotten bold, openly cutting corners and pocketing the difference. The nerve. There's a saying, if you see one cockroach, you know there are plenty more hiding in the walls. Zara Sinclair had even visited the factory floor recently herself and hadn't spotted any issues. Ethan Young said, "Looks like you'll need to send people to check things out more thoroughly. You'll need to redo the market research, too. Best to use people you trust implicitly. First, you need to root out the insider responsible, then worry about everything else." Ethan Young tossed the half-eaten bun into the trash can. "You also need to get the marketing department to recall every product from these batches immediately. Stop selling them. Good food requires good ingredients. If the taste is off, reformulate it. Making quality food that your customers deserve is more important than anything else." Zara Sinclair had her work cut out for her. Not only did she need to redo market research, but she also had to find a mole, upgrade the products, and reformulate the flavors. This step involved taking control of raw materials and purchasing standards, which meant replacing personnel with her own people. Now, it wasn't the time to worry about losses. If she wanted to make this work, she had to push through decisively. Fortunately, because the company was already losing money, the factory didn't have a large backlog of orders. Zara Sinclair looked at the table full of food and sighed. These can be sent for testing first. Make multiple trips, do whatever it takes to recall and destroy all the products currently on the market. Zara Sinclair nodded. After this incident, she had completely lost her appetite. "When the new products are ready, will you be my taste tester?" Of course, Ethan Young readily agreed. He actually had a knack for cooking and had even considered opening a restaurant once. "Let me whip up something. What do you feel like eating?" "Anything is fine. Those pot stickers you made this morning were really good. Are there any left?" "There are extras in the fridge, probably enough for both of us. I'll make some congee too." Ethan Young quickly cleared the table, then went to the kitchen and opened the refrigerator to see what was inside. There wasn't much, mostly fresh ingredients misses. Ward had bought that day. Ethan Young spotted some preserved eggs. "Do you eat preserved egg and pork congee?" Zara Sinclair immediately replied, "Yes." "All right, then I'll make preserved egg and pork congee tonight, fix a couple of cold side dishes, and steam the leftover pot stickers from this morning." It wasn't much effort. The congee simmered slowly in the clay pot and would be ready in a couple of hours. Zara Sinclair, who had been listless just moments before, immediately perked up and sat properly at the table when Ethan Young called out that dinner was ready, waiting obediently. The steamed pot stickers arrived piping hot. You had to be careful eating them to avoid the soup inside splashing out and burning your lips. Zara Sinclair blew on one a few times and only when she was sure it wasn't too hot did she cautiously bite into it. The broth inside was still scalding, but that was part of the appeal. The hotter the soup, the better the taste. Zara Sinclair couldn't praise Ethan Young's cooking enough. If your pot stickers could be sold, they'd definitely be a huge hit. That actually seemed possible. Zara Sinclair's eyes lit up. Ethan Young, would you want to partner with me? You provide the recipes, I provide the capital, and you get a share of the profits. Ethan Young said, if you want the pot sticker recipe, I can just give it to you. Zara Sinclair adopted her usual business tone. No, that won't do. Business is business. Let's keep things separate. Your cooking is excellent, and these are the best pot stickers I've ever had. If we adapted them into frozen pot stickers for sale, people would definitely buy them. You said it yourself. Making good food and being accountable to customers is more important than anything. The market for ready-to-eat foods is growing, and delivery services are competing for market share. If I'm going to do this, I want to create something irreplaceable, something that keeps customers loyal. That's why I want to overhaul all these products. Jia, despite its recent decline, still had some brand recognition. If they changed the products, improved the quality, and marketed well, they could return to the public eye. Ethan Young agreed with Zara Sinclair, and besides, he genuinely wanted to help her. All right, let's do it your way. We'll partner up. I'll provide the recipes, you handle the funding. I'll draft the contract, Zara Sinclair said. Ethan Young knew how to make more than just pot stickers. He wrote down everything he could think of that might sell, giving the list to Zara Sinclair to adapt. However, without preservatives, the shelf life would be very short, and mass production definitely couldn't replicate the quality of small batch cooking. The larger the scale, the harder it was to guarantee texture and taste. Cooking times and seasoning ratios would need careful adjustment. These complex problems would have to be tackled slowly through experimentation by Zara Sinclair's team. Zara Sinclair and Ethan Young talked until 11 o'clock at night. Realizing it was nearly midnight, Zara Sinclair looked guilty. I'm so sorry, I didn't realize it had gotten so late. It's fine, I'm not tired anyway. If you want to talk more, we can continue after I get back tomorrow. You don't find me annoying? Why would I? I'm really happy I could help you. Ethan Young meant it sincerely. Zara Sinclair felt a slight stir in her heart. She stood up and gave Ethan Young a genuine nod of gratitude. Thank you. If he hadn't given her new ideas today, it might have taken her much longer to find a solution. Ethan Young smiled faintly. Don't mention it. You've helped me a lot too. Their eyes met. Everything unspoken understood. Unconsciously, the remaining awkwardness between them had completely vanished. The next morning, Ethan Young woke up early, only to find Zara Sinclair was already up even earlier. The kitchen light was on, and sound were coming from inside. Ethan Young walked over to see Zara Sinclair in the kitchen, wearing an apron, washing vegetables. Her hair was loosely pinned up. Oblivious, she hummed softly as she washed, until Ethan Young made a noise behind her. Startled, Zara Sinclair whipped her head around. Seeing it was Ethan Young, her lips curved into her first smile of the day. What are you doing up so early? Ethan Young countered. I was about to ask you the same thing. Why are you up so early today? Zara Sinclair drained the sink. I got up to make breakfast. What's for breakfast? Ethan Young walked closer, looking at a bowl of mixed dough on the counter next to the washed vegetables. I'm making noodles. Hand-pulled noodles for breakfast today, is that okay? Sure. Here, let me do it. Ethan Young rolled up his sleeves, ready to pull the noodles. No, you rest. I'm making breakfast today. I want to cook for you. Zara Sinclair stated it plainly, giving Ethan Young no chance to intervene. She grabbed the dough, kneaded it vigorously, the veins on the back of her hand standing out. Ethan Young stood aside, watching. The water in the pot came to a boil. Let me help you with something. Could you get the bowls out for me? The big ones, and the chili flakes from the fridge. Ethan Young did as Zara Sinclair asked. She finished pulling the noodles and dropped them into the pot. How many do you want? Ethan Young looked at the length of the noodles. 3. Zara Sinclair knew how to cook, but she wasn't exceptional. For instance, she'd pulled these noodles too thick and coarse, and they came out of the pot a bit tough. The texture was average, but she had seasoned them well. Ethan Young finished all 3 noodles in his large bowl. Zara Sinclair sat across from him, eating small bites, her brow slightly furrowed. This was the best she could do. She had wanted to show her domestic side by making breakfast, but compared to Ethan Young's cooking, hers was seriously lacking. Edible, but not delicious. One had to admit, you shouldn't force yourself onto a track that isn't yours. Want a clove of garlic? Ethan Young asked. There's a saying, right? Noodles without garlic lose half their flavor. I don't eat garlic. I have filming today. Zara Sinclair's heart tightened slightly, but she asked calmly, do you have a kissing scene? Ethan Young explained, no, but raw garlic upsets my stomach. Oh, I see. Zara Sinclair breathed a silent sigh of relief. Are you going to be filming constantly lately? Ethan Young said, yeah, probably for about a month. It's for a movie, tentatively scheduled for release next Valentine's Day. Zara Sinclair immediately offered support. I'll buy out a theater showing. Ethan Young couldn't help but laugh. No need to buy out the theater. When a movie comes out, I'll take you to see it. If you're inviting me, then I'll go, Zara Sinclair replied, adding silently in her head. Asterisk, no matter how busy I am, I'll go. Asterisk. Ethan Young put down his chopsticks and noticed the noodles left in Zara Sinclair's bowl. Maybe I should make breakfast from now on. A rare blush crept onto Zara Sinclair's face. Was it not good? Ethan Young said, if it were really bad, I wouldn't have finished it all. I cook because I usually get up this early anyway. I'm used to it. But you're not. I don't want you changing your routine for me. Besides, I cook fast. I can prep ahead. He quickly added reassuringly. Everyone has things they're good at. Just like you told me the first day I got here. I wasn't here to do chores. The same goes for you. Just be yourself. Do whatever feels comfortable. You don't need to change. Ethan Young was serious about his work and never late. If call time was 8, he'd arrive 20 minutes early. The crew arrived even earlier, the stagehands methodically assigning tasks. Seeing Ethan Young, they led him to a makeshift tent to change. By 8:50, all the actors had arrived. Alice Taylor scowled the moment she saw Ethan Young. Everyone was at the table read yesterday afternoon, except certain people putting on airs without the clout. Yes, I'm talking about you. What are you looking at? Her tone was as sour as her expression, sharp and nagging like a chirping bird. Ethan Young, I warned you yesterday. If your acting isn't up to par, you're out. If you can't remember your lines today, if you dare try to fake your way through it, I'll have the director kick you off the set. Ethan Young simply raised an eyebrow. Okay, got it. Alice Taylor smirked silently. She'd said her piece. If he messed up later, he couldn't blame her. Alice Taylor dreamed of replacing him. It was such a good script, the director was so well prepared, the supporting cast was excellent, but the male lead had to be him. Wasn't he just the one bad apple spoiling the bunch? What was really strange was Hank Harrison and Liam Lawrence's attitude toward Ethan Young. They seemed to value him excessively, praising him and propping him up for no logical reason. Ethan Young was a nobody, an actor for years with no success. How did he deserve this treatment? Was it just because he knew how to sleep his way up, latching onto a backer? Who exactly was Ethan Young's backer? Someone powerful enough to land him such a great script and relegate her to a supporting role. Unconsciously, Alice Taylor's curiosity about Ethan Young had begun to outweigh her dislike. She subtly started asking around about his backer. On set, she was closest to Liam Lawrence. She approached him, script in hand, and asked outright, Liam Lawrence, can you tell me who Ethan Young's backer is? Who's promoting him? Liam Lawrence. Focus on your lines, not gossip. Alice Taylor muttered, with all those backers. Has he even had a checkup? Her underlying question was whether Ethan Young had any diseases. Her concern was somewhat understandable. They had scenes together, involving close contact, and it was better to be safe than sorry. Don't worry, Liam said. We have Ethan Young's medical report right here. He's healthy, no infectious diseases. As for the backer you mentioned, don't believe or spread rumors. He's not being kept by anyone. I don't believe you. You always cover for him. Now Liam Lawrence was truly speechless. Alice Taylor was prejudiced against Ethan Young. In her eyes, he could do no right, and no amount of explanation would help. But Liam believed that after today, her attitude would completely change. Hearing Ethan Young had no infectious diseases did put Alice Taylor somewhat at ease. She didn't want to risk her own health for a role. She had flipped through her script countless times. Although the plot revolved around love, there were very few intimate scenes between the male and female leads. The most intimate contact was holding hands and hugging. There were no kisses. The set was ready. Alice Taylor couldn't believe Ethan Young could have memorized the entire thick script. She was just waiting for filming to start, ready to call cut the instant he made a mistake and have him replaced. Ethan Young didn't need makeup. His hair was trimmed slightly shorter, revealing his forehead. He had strong brows and star-like eyes that seemed magnetic. The first scene they were shooting today was a flashback. Their youth, childhood sweethearts who had been inseparable since they were kids. Just when they were most in love and planning to get married, his girlfriend died. The male lead didn't even get to see her one last time. After attending her funeral, his expression was calm, showing neither joy nor sorrow. He didn't even shed a tear, just stared blankly at her memorial photo. Some people whispered he didn't really love her. If he did, how could he be so calm? How could he hold back the tears? He didn't understand it either. Why couldn't he cry when his heart ached so terribly? Looking at the photo, he remembered something his girlfriend had said. She told him that when she died of old age, she wanted her memorial photo to be one from her youth, the most beautiful one. This grayscale photo was indeed beautiful. In it, her smile was radiant, the corners of her lips turned up, revealing shallow dimples on her cheeks that seemed filled with sweetness. It was a lovely photo, but she wasn't old yet. How could she be dead? They just made plans to take wedding photos next week. On the way back, he sat on the bus, quietly watching the scenery pass by. He got off one stop early to buy the skewers his girlfriend loved. He tried calling her, but the number had been disconnected. Only then did the delayed realization hit him. His girlfriend was dead. Back home, he found a metal basin and started burning paper money in it. He threw in the fried chicken skewers his girlfriend loved, burning them as an offering. She had once said that when she died, she hoped people visiting her grave would bring her favorite foods. She loved fried chicken skewers, kimchi ramen, fried chicken burgers. He remembered all of it. He cooked the kimchi ramen his girlfriend had stocked up on. When she was alive, he wouldn't touch it, complaining about the strong smell and the spiciness. The kind she bought was extra spicy and pungent, the broth covered with a layer of red chili oil. Now, as if he'd lost his sense of smell, he ate the kimchi ramen hungrily. The kimchi ramen really was as delicious as she'd always said, just a little salty. His vision blurred. Something cold ran down his face. He reached up to wipe it away. It wasn't the ramen that was salty. His tears were falling into his mouth. So, he was crying after all. The spice caught in his throat, burning painfully. He choked, his face turning red, veins standing out on his neck. He coughed and sobbed uncontrollably, his emotions collapsing like a fortress crumbling. The tears wouldn't stop, fat drops falling into the bowl. In that moment, he desperately wanted to share it with her. Look, he'd say, who said I couldn't eat kimchi ramen? I finished the whole bowl, even the broth. If she were there, she'd surely be delighted. Then tease him, why are you crying like that just from a little spice? Missing her didn't always crash over him like a tidal wave, but like relentless smaller waves, it constantly lapped at his emotions. At the funeral, looking at her photo, it wasn't that he wasn't sad. He was so sad that his body went into self-preservation mode, temporarily blocking out the source of his pain. But back in their familiar space, facing the bed where they used to sleep side by side, the matching mugs on the bathroom sink, the razor she gave him, her used bottle of shower gel, strands of her hair on the floor. In that instant, the grief had nowhere left to hide. His chest felt hollow. He was alive, but like a walking corpse. No one to talk to, no one to share with, trapped in despair. Watching Ethan Young huddled in the corner, Alice Taylor felt a sudden urge to run over and hug him. No one on set was unmoved. Even the director's eyes reddened as he secretly wiped away tears. The entire performance, his lines and acting, flowed seamlessly. There wasn't a single flaw to find. Alice Taylor's eyes were red, a lump caught in her throat. A dull ache spread through her chest, stinging her nose again and again. So, Ethan Young could act this well. Ethan Young huddled in the corner, gripping a knife tighter and tighter. Veins bulged on his forearm, and soon, his palm was wet, scarlet beads of blood slowly seeping from between his fingers. Suddenly, as if hearing something, he snapped his head up, his eyes meeting Alice Taylor's off camera. A gentle smile touched his lips. It felt like something had struck her soul. Alice Taylor was completely lost in his performance, her own thoughts suspended. Subconsciously, an expression of heartache crossed her face. She tried to smile, but as she tilted her head, tears instantly welled up and fell. Swept up in Ethan Young's emotion, she was trapped in a deep sadness, unable to pull herself free. The set was utterly silent. Even the sympathetic sniffles were hushed. Liam Lawrence was the first to snap out of it. After yelling, "Cut!" he rushed over to check Ethan Young's hand. "Is your hand okay?" The knife was a prop, and the blood, of course, came from a pre-prepared packet. Ethan Young had improvised that part of the scene, so when they saw the blood, everyone's heart leaped into their throats, thinking he'd actually been hurt. Liam Lawrence examined his hand, carefully feeling it over, and breathed a sigh of relief when he confirmed there was no wound. Ethan Young was about to reassure the director when he looked up and saw Alice Taylor's anxious expression. A crowd had gathered around him, pushing her off to the side. Ethan Young looked away. "Don't worry, I'm not hurt. You gave me this prop, remember?" Liam Lawrence clapped Ethan Young on the shoulder, unable to hide his admiration. "Kid, your acting's gotten even better. You scared the hell out of me." Hank Harrison nodded in agreement, looking at Ethan Young like he'd struck gold. Even if their films often turn out poorly, they had a good eye for talent. For an actor like Ethan Young, hard-working, reliable, drama-free, and incredibly skilled, They felt a mix of relief, admiration, and camaraderie. It was a shame that good actors didn't always get the rewards they deserved. Ethan Young had been held back by his agency for years. With his looks and talent, wouldn't he be a huge star if he just got some decent scripts? Knowing Ethan had finally managed to break his contract, they were genuinely happy he'd escaped that difficult situation. Ethan Young gave a bashful smile, uncomfortable with the praise. He'd spent years taking small parts, playing all sorts of characters. He never considered himself naturally gifted. He'd walked this path and studied his craft for a long time. He could perform so well today partly because he knew the script inside out. He'd written it, and partly because the male lead was exactly the type of character he excelled at portraying. It felt a bit like taking a shortcut. Let's keep shooting, don't waste time. Next up was his scene with Alice Taylor. When Alice Taylor faced Ethan Young, an unnatural expression flickered across her face. After all, she'd always looked down on him, believing he only got roles by sleeping with sponsors and had zero actual talent. So what if he can act? Does that prove what Serena Sinclair said was false? Does it prove he's completely innocent? Alice Taylor stubbornly refused to admit she might have been wrong. The moment the director yelled, "Action!" Ethan Young slipped into character instantly. He seemed to step right out of the script, his performance powerful. As an observer, it might not seem like much, but acting opposite him revealed the immense pressure he could generate. Insiders see the skill, outsiders just see the show. Alice Taylor, a graduate of a professional acting school, was an insider. She knew exactly how wide the gap was between her and Ethan Young. She couldn't compete. Ethan Young had come into acting later and hadn't been doing it for that many years. So how could his performance completely overshadow hers? Yes, overshadow, that was the word. There's a term in acting, upstaging or scene stealing, where one actor uses their powerful presence and skill to dominate another, affecting them psychologically and making them forget their lines. Ethan Young was deliberately upstaging her, making it impossible for Alice Taylor to deliver her lines properly. After the director called cut for the 5th consecutive time, Alice Taylor started to crumble. Ethan Young didn't say a word, but his eyes looked at her as if she were garbage, seeming to ask, "Is that all you've got? Alice Taylor, your line." Alice Taylor, that's the wrong line. Hey, your expression is off. He's supposed to be your lover. You should be sad about his condition, not scared. Get closer. Don't be so hesitant. All right, let's take a break. Pull yourself together, and we'll try again. Alice Taylor flushed beet red. This was the first time since she started acting that a scene had been stopped so many times because of her. She wasn't an idiot. She knew Ethan Young was doing it on purpose. When actors share a scene, it's always the weaker performer who gets overwhelmed. Alice Taylor saw Ethan Young clearly, and in doing so, saw herself clearly too. She slumped to the ground, dejectedly flipping through her script. It was such a simple scene. Why couldn't she handle it? Just 2 hours ago, she'd been threatening Ethan Young, saying she'd have him thrown off the set if he couldn't keep up. The turnaround was humiliatingly fast. Alice Taylor's eyes reddened secretly, but she didn't dare make sound. Liam Lawrence saw everything. He walked over and handed Ethan Young a bottle of water. All right, that's probably enough. Look how upset Alice is. Ethan Young looked seriously at the director. People need to take responsibility for the things they say. He wasn't a pushover. His supposed good temper was mostly just him finding confrontations too troublesome to bother with. The way to handle someone like Alice Taylor was to beat her at her own game, acting. Only then would she cooperate properly. Liam Lawrence nodded thoughtfully, then went over to Alice Taylor. After a brief, unheard conversation, Alice stood up, stole a glance at Ethan Young, hesitated, and then walked towards him. "I was wrong," she mumbled. "I shouldn't have jumped to conclusions like that. Calling you a talentless hack who slept his way into roles. I'm sorry." Alice Taylor glanced quickly at Ethan Young before lowering her head again, nervously picking at her fingers. A soft chuckle came from above her. "All right," Ethan Young said generously. "I forgive you. A little payback was enough. If he kept holding a grudge, how would they ever finish filming? From now on, let's just focus on filming. Peaceful coexistence until the shoot wraps up. How does that sound?" Alice Taylor nodded quickly. Seeing that Ethan and Alice had settled things, the two directors quickly called the extras back for another take. This time, however, Ethan held back. He could see Alice Taylor was still nervous, so he used his performance to gently guide her. A good actor can pull their scene partner into the emotion, prompting subconscious reactions, and can also adjust their own performance based on the other person's state. It was the first time Alice Taylor had ever gotten so deeply into character. It felt like a breakthrough, an exhilarating experience. Even after the director yelled, "Cut!" she remained lost in the scene. When she finally snapped out of it, her expression was one of lingering satisfaction. Her previous dislike for Ethan Young was completely replaced by admiration. She proactively approached him with her script, asking for tips, diligently noting everything he said like an eager student. If Ethan Young looked thirsty, she poured him water. If he looked hot, she fanned him and handed him a towel, as attentive as a personal assistant. One good thing about Alice Taylor was her adaptability. At lunchtime, when the crew delivered boxed meals, Alice had her assistant queue up early to grab one for Ethan Young along with her own. In just one morning, Alice Taylor's attitude towards Ethan had completely flipped. Not only was her prejudice gone, but she now seemed to view him through rose-tinted glasses, her gaze holding an admiration she herself didn't fully recognize. Ethan Young. How can you play the part after the girlfriend dies so convincingly? Because he had experienced that kind of loss. Both his parents had died when he was 18. When he returned home, he found only their mangled bodies. He truly understood the script's description of grief that numbs the heart. During a break, Alice Taylor asked her assistant for a phone, connected to the internet, and started searching for information about Ethan Young. After searching around, she finally found some relevant results, though not much, mostly listing the film and TV projects he'd been in over the years. They were all low-budget productions, and Ethan Young's roles were either minor parts or despicable supporting characters. His on-screen image was a world apart from how he was in real life. Some commenters even speculated he'd had botched plastic surgery. Alice Taylor scrolled through the comments, learning more about Ethan Young. For instance, that he'd gotten his start in short dramas, even trending online at the time. Later, after signing with Starlight Talent Agency, there was a long period where he didn't take any roles. When he finally did start acting again, they were all marginal parts. The short drama that launched Ethan Young's career had already been taken down. It had been too long, making it hard to find the full version anywhere. Alice Taylor clicked through web page after web page, so focused that she didn't even notice the director standing behind her until Liam Lawrence cleared his throat twice with a hem-hem. Alice frantically hid her phone, looking exactly like a student caught using their phone in class by the teacher, her eyes darting nervously towards Liam Lawrence. Liam Lawrence had a teasing smile on his face. Looking up Ethan Young online. Huh? You seem really absorbed. Find anything interesting? Alice looked guilty. Liam Lawrence, when did you get here? You were so quiet. Liam chuckled. I've been standing behind you for at least a few minutes. If I hadn't coughed, you still wouldn't have noticed me. He saw everything then. Alice awkwardly changed the subject. Did you need me for something? Liam pointed behind him. Did your team treat our crew to bubble tea? They just delivered it by car. Alice stood up. I don't know. No one told me. Well, they said it was from you. Maybe you should ask. I'll go check. Just then, her assistant came over with a phone. Alice, someone's calling you. Alice took it and saw it was her brother, Lucas Taylor. Bro. Lucas Taylor's voice came through the phone. Did you get the bubble tea? Alice was surprised. You sent it. Lucas said, didn't I hear you just started a new show? As your older brother, naturally, I had to visit the set, show some support. Alice said happily. I got it. Thanks, bro. The tea's here, but where are you? Aren't you coming over? You said you were visiting the set. How is it a set visit if you're not even here? Lucas replied, I'm busy right now. I'll come by later. Don't worry. All right then. I'll be waiting for you here at the set with my bubble tea. You better come. As his younger sister, Alice Taylor was very close to Lucas Taylor. Her second older brother had always been good to her, often mailing her gifts when she was abroad, video calling, and always sending her birthday money right at midnight every year. After hanging up, Alice turned to Liam Lawrence, phone still in hand. It was my brother. Come on, let's go get some bubble tea. For his first time visiting his sister's set, Lucas Taylor had bought every single flavor of bubble tea the shop offered, along with a huge bouquet of flowers. It was quite the surprise. Alice picked a flavor she liked, then asked Liam Lawrence, what kind of bubble tea does Ethan Young like? Liam shook his head. No idea. I've never seen him drink bubble tea. On my previous set, he only ever drank mineral water. Alice selected a relatively lighter flavor from the pile of drinks, honey pomelo tea. Liam clearly noticed the shift in Alice's attitude towards Ethan Young and wore a knowing smile. Alice shot him a glare. What's with that look? I just thought I'd grab one for him while I was at it. Don't get any funny ideas or start making things up about me in your head. Liam grinned, his eyes crinkling. I didn't say anything. Why are you so defensive? Alice held a cup of tea in each hand. Director, there's something I'm curious about. Has Ethan Young's acting always been this good? Yes, it's very good. Acting requires talent. I sensed it the first time I worked with him. He has a strong natural talent for acting, and he's handsome. If his agency hadn't held him back, he would have made it big long ago. Is it really just talent? At that moment, she truly understood the saying. Hard work means nothing in the face of talent. Thinking about the gap between them, a wave of disappointment washed over her face. Liam consoled her. Your acting is already very strong among the young actresses of your generation, and you're still young, with room to grow. Actors like Ethan Young are exceptionally gifted. You'll definitely learn a lot acting opposite him. Cherish this opportunity. Alice nodded. He was incredible in that solo scene today. A lot of people on set were crying. She had asked Ethan Young why he performed it so well, but he had just smiled without answering her. Liam said, people who don't know him just think it's acting, but actually those are things he's experienced himself. You probably didn't know. Ethan Young's parents died in an accident when he was in high school. He also had a sick sister, Emily Young. To take care of her, he had to drop out of school and work. He became an actor by chance. This wasn't exactly a secret. Most directors who had worked with Ethan Young knew the basics. So, don't mock him about his education anymore. It wasn't that he didn't want to study. He didn't have the chance. Thinking about the things she had said to Ethan Young, Alice felt a wave of guilt and unease. She felt like she deserved to die, even waking up in the middle of the night thinking about it. I'll never mock him about things like that again. Seeing Alice promise this, Liam felt relieved. I don't know where you heard those rumors before, making you so prejudiced against Ethan Young. You didn't believe anything I said. Now you have a general idea of Ethan Young's situation. If he really had a powerful backer, with his acting skills and looks, why would he be stuck taking bit parts in terrible productions during this 5-year contract? As for using the casting couch to get ahead, have you ever seen someone who supposedly made it end up like him? He rarely spoke up for someone like this, but Ethan Young had truly been unlucky and pitiful over the years. Asterisk, he's right. Asterisk, Alice suddenly understood. Someone with genuine ability could do well even without a sponsor. But looking at Ethan Young's filmography over the years, it got worse year after year, as if he'd been partially shelved by his agency. Alice began to doubt what Serena Sinclair had told her. Asterisk, why would Serena Sinclair deliberately smear Ethan Young? What was her motive? Could there have been some misunderstanding? Asterisk. Without realizing it, Alice had walked over to Ethan Young. She held out the bubble tea in her hand. Want some bubble tea? I picked honey pomelo for you. If you don't like it, I can have my assistant get you something else. Thanks. Ethan Young reached out and took it, placing it beside him without drinking it immediately. Alice watched his every move, wanting to ask him so many questions, but not knowing where to start. Why do people say you're a homewrecker who breaks up relationships, and that you act like a diva despite not being famous, and that you like to bully people? Ethan Young replied calmly, you should ask the people spreading those rumors, not me. Asterisk, true. Asterisk, she decided she would find a chance to ask Serena Sinclair directly why she was spreading such vicious lies and rumors about Ethan Young. You know the kinds of things people often say in cases of violence. Why would he hit you and not someone else? Flies are only drawn to cracked eggs. It takes two to tango. These sayings hide an absolutist logic. If there's a problem, the fault must lie with you. Let me ask you, if someone is bullied or slandered, is it automatically the victim's fault? Alice Taylor turned her head to look at Ethan Young. Seeing the seriousness and displeasure hidden beneath his expressionless face, she quickly shook her head. Ethan Young said gravely, take the saying flies are only drawn to cracked eggs. If the egg is cracked, who cracked it? And if the crack was there from the start, does that mean a cracked egg doesn't deserve to hatch? As for the fly, it lands on food, on benches, even on people. It lands on everything. Does that mean the whole world is condemned by the fly? Not everyone might listen to these words, but whether he said them or not was his business. Alice Taylor listened intently, cupping her face in her hands, feeling both self-reproach and admiration. She thought Ethan Young made so much sense. When a problem arises, you should look for the person who caused it. She had blamed Ethan Young for all the conflict and problems, ignoring the external circumstances and the responsibility of others' actions. You're right. From now on, I'll be careful with my words and actions and won't cause trouble for anyone. Alice Taylor suddenly stood up and bowed deeply to Ethan Young in apology. This time, it was much more sincere than the apology that morning. Ethan Young, I'm truly sorry. I apologize for taking things out of context. Ethan Young replied coolly, there's no need for apologies. Just focus on your acting from now on. If you still feel uneasy, then investigate the truth of the matter. Don't let yourself be used by someone else. It was both a reminder and a warning. Alice Taylor straightened up. Okay, I understand. Once Alice Taylor started trusting someone, she believed whatever they said. For instance, she had no proof of who was right or wrong, but she just felt Ethan Young was right. Her heart, which had originally leaned towards Serena Sinclair, slowly shifted towards Ethan Young. After a short break, the director called everyone to gather and continue shooting the next scene. The entire day consisted of scenes between Ethan Young and Alice Taylor. Ethan Young slipped into character quickly, and Alice Taylor, influenced by him, rapidly got into character too. This was the benefit of acting opposite a good actor. You could constantly learn from them. In Alice Taylor's eyes, Ethan Young was the male lead, her male lead. Sometimes, she got so deep in a character that she couldn't tell if it was real or acting. Ethan Young slipped into character quickly and snapped out of it just as fast. The moment the director yelled cut, he was back to his normal self, leaving Alice alone, unable to break free from the scene for a long time. The longer she acted opposite Ethan Young, the deeper her feelings grew. She began to rely on him, to cling to him. Sometimes she even wished they could stay in the scene forever. When they weren't filming, Ethan Young was very indifferent toward her. Actually, it wasn't indifference, just his normal way of interacting, but she felt it wasn't enough. She wanted it to be like it was in the scenes. Alice Taylor was lost in her character, unable to pull herself out. When she finally came back to reality, her heart felt empty and lost, a dense, bittersweet ache spreading through her veins. At 5 in the afternoon, Lucas Taylor came to visit the set, arriving just as they were taking a break. The two directors were reviewing the day's footage, discussing editing. Alice Taylor held her script, asking Ethan Young to help her run lines, calling him Teacher Lynn over and over in a sweet voice. Ethan Young wasn't used to this and corrected her. Call me by my name, not teacher. I'm not taking apprentices. We're both just working people. You don't need to be so respectful towards me. I'm not comfortable with it. All right, Ethan Young. Do you want some water? I can get it. No, thanks. Where are you having dinner? You've helped me so much. Let me treat you. It's part of the job, not help. Ethan Young, you're so cold to me. Ethan Young replied coolly. I'm always like this with people. Don't overthink it. Ethan Young's strictly professional attitude made Alice Taylor feel like he was keeping her at arm's length. She drooped, feeling downcast and unhappy. Even a milk tea in her mouth tasted bitter. She wondered, if she hadn't said those harsh things to Ethan Young at the beginning, would he be warmer toward her now? As soon as Lucas Taylor arrived on set, he saw Alice Taylor buzzing around a man, being very attentive. As the youngest child in the family, Alice was always the one being pampered at home. The best food was saved for her, and any plans for outings had to be run by her first. When had he ever seen her trying so hard to please someone? Lucas Taylor looked at the man sitting in the chair, finding him somewhat familiar. He walked closer, thinking back while scrutinizing him. When he saw the jacket draped over the chair, his pupils contracted slightly. He remembered the man who had entered the elevator at Zara Sinclair's company yesterday wore a jacket of the exact same style and color. Could it be the same person? Lucas Taylor narrowed his eyes, his expression instantly becoming wary. The man yesterday had walked away too quickly. He had only seen his back and a blurry profile. It felt like the same person. But thinking carefully, how could someone who could freely enter and exit Zara Sinclair's company be filming in a dump like this? Ethan Young noticed Lucas Taylor the moment he arrived, merely glancing over with his peripheral vision without looking directly. It wasn't until Alice Taylor beside him noticed Lucas, stood up, and called out bro, that he lazily lifted his gaze and looked over. The two men's eyes met in that setting. Lucas Taylor didn't recognize him, but Ethan knew quite a lot about Lucas. Meeting face-to-face for the first time was different from seeing photos and videos. His face was quite pale, but he wasn't as thin as Ethan had imagined. As for whether they looked alike, when Ethan Young worked as a stand-in, he remembered his duties and would put on makeup and style his hair every day, trying his best to resemble him. Comparing them now, Ethan felt quite proud of his makeup skills. Alice Taylor looked happy to see Lucas Taylor and skipped over to him. Bro, you're finally here. Lucas Taylor asked gently. Finished filming for today? Finished, Lucas Taylor said. Then what are you doing now? Alice Taylor waved the script in her hand, explaining, running lines with a male lead, memorizing them. Lucas Taylor looked at Ethan Young again. What's the name of the actor you're running lines with? Which character does he play? He's Ethan Young, the male lead. Mentioning Ethan Young in front of her brother made her inexplicably nervous. She didn't dare meet his eyes. Lucas Taylor thought for a moment. Never heard of him. Is he well known? Alice Taylor couldn't help but defend Ethan Young. Don't ask about how well known he is. What matters most for an actor is their skill. Fine, he got it. Probably some nobody, not even a Z-lister. Lucas Taylor's gaze towards Ethan Young gradually filled with disdain. He surveyed the surroundings. The environment was basic, clearly not a big-budget film production. Can you even make a good movie in such a poor environment? The male lead is someone I've never even heard of. I looked up your crew's director. He doesn't have a single representative work. He's only famous for terrible movies, and the only award he ever got was basically for the worst picture. With a team like this, it's bound to be a terrible movie. What are you even doing making this kind of film? Trying to ruin your popularity with the audience? Or do you think you don't have enough haters and want to attract more? Lucas Taylor disliked Ethan Young on sight and took out his frustration on Alice Taylor, launching into a lecture. And the guy playing the male lead? How good can his acting be? I've never even heard of him. You're clearly exaggerating. If you wanted to be in a movie, why didn't you tell mom and dad? They could have gotten you into a better production, acting alongside veteran actors. You'd learn more, and it wouldn't dampen your fans' enthusiasm. Lucas Taylor then looked Alice Taylor up and down again. Your styling is terrible too. Lucas Taylor hadn't even been there 5 minutes, and he'd already torn down the entire production, saying all this in front of everyone. Truly brazen. Liam Lawrence wondered if being foul-mouthed ran in the Taylor family. Each one seemed worse than the last, spouting nonsense without knowing anything. Liam Lawrence didn't dare confront him. Who could blame him? The guy was the son of a capitalist. Best to avoid trouble you can't handle. Alice Taylor's expression soured. Belittling the director was one thing, but how could he slander Ethan Young? Brother, this is my business. You don't need to interfere, Alice Taylor said stiffly. I really like the script, the actors, and the crew this time. I don't want to switch. Besides, I've already signed a 5-year contract. I can't just back out now. Worried Lucas Taylor's words would damage her image in Ethan Young's eyes, she glanced back quickly and saw Ethan Young looking at her. She immediately stated her position firmly. Ethan Young is the best actor I've ever met. His acting is just as good as those veteran actors. I like making movies with him. He's my friend now, so criticizing him is like criticizing me. If you keep this up, I'm done talking to you. Alice Taylor crossed her arms and huffed coldly. Because Lucas Taylor was deliberately finding fault, she sided with Ethan Young. Lucas Taylor lost face, his expression turning cold. Fine, I won't interfere anymore. But don't come crying to me when things go wrong. Alice Taylor retorted. What do you know? I won't regret it. Her only regret was not meeting Ethan Young sooner, not getting to act with him earlier. Doesn't understand? He'd studied abroad to boost his credentials, been an influencer with 1 or 2 million followers, plus the Taylor family owned a media company. How could he not understand this business? A production team like this? Clearly doomed from the start. Had Alice Taylor lost her mind, or had someone brainwashed her? Thinking this, he looked at Ethan Young, a dangerous glint in his eyes. Ethan Young. You wouldn't forget that name. Since work is done for today, come back with me. Alice Taylor looked wary. You're not going to tattle to mom and dad, are you? I already said I wouldn't interfere. What's there to tattle about? After a pause, Lucas Taylor added a reminder. I can't control your acting career, but don't even think about anything else outside of filming. Alice Taylor asked, like what? Lucas Taylor said, you're still in the rising phase of your career. Rising stars aren't allowed to date. Don't you know that? Alice Taylor blushed. I know. You don't need to remind me. Lucas Taylor knew his little sister had higher standards than most. Ordinary guys wouldn't catch her eye, so he wasn't too worried about her. Come on, I'll take you out to eat. My treat, whatever you want. Alice Taylor brightened up immediately at the offer, her attitude shifting completely. She took Lucas Taylor's arm, wheedling, Thanks, bro. You're the best. I like you the most. Let me just go tell the director and the others. Lucas Taylor sighed helplessly. I'll go with you. Alice Taylor, still holding Lucas Taylor's arm, went over to Ethan Young first. Ethan Young, this is my brother, Lucas Taylor. He just got back from abroad and doesn't really know how things are here. He can be harsh, so please don't take what he said seriously. Ethan Young remained seated and silent. Lucas Taylor didn't speak either. The atmosphere was quiet and awkward. Seeing him up close, Lucas Taylor disliked Ethan Young even more. There's a kind of magnetism between people. Some click instantly, while others, no matter how long they know each other, can never get close. Lucas Taylor felt a strong hostility towards Ethan Young, subconsciously seeing him as a threat he wanted to eliminate. He considered himself quite handsome. Otherwise, how could he have gained 1 or 2 million followers just by posting videos? But standing in front of Ethan Young now, the other man's silent presence somehow made him feel diminished. Lucas Taylor frowned slightly, making no effort to hide his displeasure. Focus on your acting. Some things are beyond your reach. Know your place. Alice Taylor tugged Lucas Taylor's arm, saying through gritted teeth, Brother, watch what you say. She was speaking to Lucas Taylor, but her eyes flickered towards Ethan Young. I'm talking to you. Why should I watch what I say? Lucas shot back. As if anyone couldn't understand his oblique insults, Alice Taylor looked apologetically at Ethan Young and said softly, Ethan Young, I'm sorry. I'll take my brother now. Ethan Young stood up, looking down at Lucas Taylor. Don't worry, I always know my place. Unlike some people who are clueless. Filming was ongoing, so Ethan Young wouldn't deliberately cause trouble, but he couldn't stop trouble from finding him. He wouldn't start trouble, but he wouldn't just take it lying down either. Ethan Young was taller than Lucas Taylor, and standing on the step, Lucas had to look up at him, completely losing the upper hand in terms of presence. Knowing Ethan Young was angry, Alice Taylor quickly pulled Lucas Taylor away. She had originally wanted her brother and Ethan Young to meet, hoping they could become friends, which might bring her closer to Ethan. But her brother had been completely tactless and ended up offending Ethan. Alice Taylor held back her anger, muttering under her breath, I knew I shouldn't have let you come. What did you say? Alice Taylor dragged Lucas Taylor 50 meters away in one go. You didn't say one nice thing, just spouted a load of nonsense. Have you even thought about how this makes me look? What people will think of me? I still have to work here for 2 more months. Lucas Taylor was unfazed. If you can't handle it, just quit. It's not like the family can't afford the penalty fee. There you go again. You make me so mad. Alice Taylor cried, frustrated. What did I say that was wrong? Why do you react so strongly whenever Ethan Young is mentioned? I didn't even say much. What are you so worked up about? Lucas Taylor paused, his expression probing. You don't like him, do you? Alice Taylor reacted like a startled cat. I do not. That's not it. Don't talk nonsense. Lucas Taylor's face darkened. You better not. Mom and Dad would never approve if you fell for that kind of pretty boy. Hearing this, Alice Taylor felt a pang of emptiness. Suppressing her discomfort, she said, if I really did have feelings for him, it would just mean I got too caught up in the role. Brother, you shouldn't be so biased against Ethan Young. You might end up eating your words. Alice Taylor was warning Lucas Taylor from experience. When you assume Ethan Young is just some useless pretty boy, you're setting yourself up to be proven wrong, and soon. Alice found it odd. Lucas Taylor had just met Ethan Young, so why the hostility? Could it be that guys naturally resent anyone better than them? Noticing Alice's odd look, Lucas Taylor frowned. What are you staring at? Is there something on my face? No flower. Alice shook her head. But there's a red spot on your nose. Lucas Taylor looked confused. Alice asked, Bro, did you know Ethan Young before? Never met him. Then why are you so hostile towards him? It's not hostility. I just looked down on him. Lucas Taylor believed Ethan Young was nothing but a pretty face, using acting as a way to find a wealthy sugar mama. He figured Ethan had probably set his sights on Alice Taylor now. A young, inexperienced heiress would be a much easier target than an older rich woman. Alice rolled her eyes. In her opinion, Ethan Young was far more capable than Lucas Taylor. Didn't she know her own brother? They'd grown up together. For him to call someone else useless, *** was the useless one, coasting on their family's wealth. Without money, he'd be nothing. Alice's expression soured. Why did you suddenly show up today? Serena Sinclair's birthday gala is coming up, and I don't know what gift to get. You always help me pick something out. Did you forget? She actually had forgotten. Alice tapped her forehead. Right. So what are you thinking? Skincare, a bag, jewelry? Probably jewelry. Alice thought for a moment, finally settling on a boutique on 5th Avenue that had just released its fall-winter collection. Following Alice's suggestion, Lucas Taylor picked out a $15 million bracelet. Just as he was about to leave, a necklace in the display case caught his eye. It was a silver serpent, studded with diamonds, its green eyes glinting with mystery, danger, and power. It reminded him of Zara Sinclair. He asked the price, nearly $20 million. He knew women's luxury items could be pricey, but he hadn't expected this expensive. Still, it had its appeal. It was incredibly striking. Zara Sinclair had fair skin and a long neck. A necklace like this would look stunning on her. Lucas Taylor pointed to the necklace. Wrap this one up too. Alice glanced over curiously. When she saw the price tag, she let out a low whistle. Bro, you're really splurging. Picking something that expensive. Are you planning to propose to Serena? I guess it makes sense you two are at that age. Serena waited so long for you to come back from overseas. You probably should get her something expensive to make up for it. Lucas Taylor didn't want to admit the necklace was for Zara Sinclair, so he warned Alice curtly, mind your own business. Alice pouted, but picked out a hair clip worth tens of thousands. Birthdays came every year. It was the thought that counted. At 6 in the evening, Ethan Young was still on set, discussing editing and storyboarding with Liam Lawrence. 3 heads were better than one trying to figure out alone. The sooner they finished, the sooner they could wrap up for the day. After their discussion, Ethan Young pulled out his phone to check the time and saw a new text message that had arrived half an hour ago from Zara Sinclair. Ethan opened it. I have to work late tonight, so I won't be home for dinner. I've already told Mrs. Ward to just prepare your meal. so it'll be ready when you get back. Ethan Young sent back an OK sticker. He didn't expect a reply and was about to put his phone away when a telegram notification popped up. Zara Sinclair, still working. Ethan Young, just about to leave. Zara Sinclair, tough day. Ethan Young asked with concern. What about you? How much longer will you be? Not sure. I have a work event tonight. We be very late. Zara Sinclair. What? Worried about me? Winky face. Ethan Young froze for a second. Zara Sinclair. Don't worry. I'll have my assistant and bodyguard with me. It's just a simple networking thing. I won't be drinking. Reading her message, Ethan couldn't help the smile that touched his lips, his entire expression softening. It was a complete shift from his serious demeanor during the work discussion moments earlier. Hank Harrison, sitting nearby, saw the change and nudged Liam Lawrence with his elbow. They exchanged knowing glances. Smiling like that? Who's texting you? Girlfriend? Ethan Young just smiled and shook his head. Not my girlfriend. Though, technically, she was the wife on his marriage certificate. Speaking of which, Ethan, Liam Lawrence's easygoing manner vanished, his expression turning serious and concerned. Have you gotten on the wrong side of the Sinclairs recently? Ethan Young, what's wrong? Liam said. Serena Sinclair has apparently put the word out, expressly forbidding any director from hiring you. Both Hank and I heard about it. Isn't she basically trying to blacklist you? For someone who made a living as an actor, this kind of situation was a potential career killer. Ethan Young had heard from Zara that Serena had recently taken charge of a division within the Sinclair Media Group, giving her more power than before. Knowing her vindictive nature, he wasn't surprised she'd do something like this. Ethan scoffed. He honestly couldn't figure out how he'd offended Serena. Was it simply because he hadn't gone back to her? His performance-based contract had clearly stipulated 5 years. He'd fulfilled his obligations, obeying her and serving as her plaything for the entire duration. When he left, she was the one who told him to get lost. So what was she so unhappy about now? It could only be greed, ingrained deep in Serena Sinclair's bones, always wanting everything, and then some more. It's fine. Don't worry about her. Liam was concerned about potential issues with the film's release after production wrapped. Relax, Ethan said. Her reach isn't that long. The domestic market is huge. You really think she can control everything? Serena probably only dared to target an actor like him, someone with no fame and no fan base. But what if he did have those things? Could she still blacklist him so easily, just on a whim? True enough. Liam nodded, then couldn't resist adding with admiration. Ethan, for someone who never even went to college, how do you know so much? I may not have gone to college, but that doesn't mean I didn't want to learn. He had forced himself to absorb a lot of information, piece by painful piece. You could lack a formal education, you could even be unemployed, but you couldn't lack the skills to survive. During those 5 years, while dutifully playing his role as her substitute, he had used every spare moment to learn various skills. His goal was to become strong enough that no one could threaten him. Hank and Liam felt sorry for him, wondering why he hadn't made a name for himself after 5 years as an actor. The truth was, he'd had opportunities. Several chances had slipped through his fingers during those 5 years. He remembered one role he'd spent ages negotiating for. The director loved his audition, and they were ready to sign. But on the very day he was supposed to sign the contract, Serena had broken his hand and locked him in the house. The role went to someone else, who subsequently shot to fame because of it, becoming a hot young star and making a fortune. To this day, he still remembered Serena Sinclair's words. Ethan Young, do you really think I care about that paltry sum of money? I don't need you to pay me back. Not double, not 10 times the amount. I just want you obediently by my side, like a pet, like a doll on a shelf. If I forbid you from acting, you don't act. His self-respect had been thrown to the ground and trampled on time and time again. Each time it was thrown down, he picked it back up. Eventually, he grew too tired to retrieve it anymore. It wasn't until he left her that he slowly began to piece his shattered dignity back together, bit by bit. He had once seen Serena Sinclair as his lifeline, the last straw to grasp at the edge of cliff. Only later did he realize she was one of the people who had pushed him over the edge. After leaving the set, Ethan didn't head straight home. Instead, he drove around, stopping at several flower shops before finally finding one that sold gardenias. He bought every potted gardenia they had, 10 in total, and crammed them into his trunk until it was completely full. Gardenias weren't big sellers compared to other flowers. Their color was rather plain, the shape wasn't particularly striking, and besides, it wasn't even gardenia season. Ethan had kept plants before, just never gardenias. Determined to keep these alive, he even bought books specifically about caring for them. He parked in the basement garage and hauled the plants upstairs in bags, needing 2 trips to get them all onto the plant stand. Come next spring, when the gardenias bloomed, the place should smell wonderful. Ethan was patient. He carefully trimmed the gardenia leaves and checked if they had enough water. After the housekeeper finished preparing dinner, she called out, "Mr. Ethan, dinner is ready." In all the time Ethan had lived there, he'd barely exchanged 10 sentences with the housekeeper. She was new to the job, introverted, and adept at reading situations. Whenever she saw Ethan and Zara Sinclair alone together, she'd immediately retreat to her room. She was a woman of few words and much action, perfectly content to step back if needed. Since Ethan moved in, the kitchen had become the young couple's private space for flirting. Ethan didn't need her for breakfast, and they weren't home for lunch. At most, she prepared dinner, tidied up, and did laundry. It was an easy job, and Zara Sinclair never interfered. Ethan got the housekeeper's contact information and added her on WhatsApp. Since he'd often be working late on set recently, he couldn't expect her to cook dinner and then wait indefinitely for him. After eating, he started to clear the dishes, but the housekeeper quickly stopped him. "Mr. Ethan, please let me. It's my job. I get paid for this." Ethan was used to being self-sufficient, doing everything himself, and avoiding bothering others. It was a hard habit to break, even for a moment. Maybe he was just destined to work hard. Just then, Zara Sinclair came home. "Did you two just finish eating?" The housekeeper quickly adapted. "Mr. Ethan, Ms. Sinclair is back. Why don't you go spend time with her?" Ethan put down the bowl he was holding and walked over, naturally taking the bag from Zara Sinclair's hand. "Have you eaten?" "I already ate. I'm actually a little stuffed. Can you come out for a walk with me?" "Of course." Ethan slipped on his shoes and walked beside Zara Sinclair on her right. As they took the elevator down, Zara initiated conversation about work, renovating the factory, the gradual return of shipped goods. Fortunately, recent sales hadn't been high, so production volume was manageable. Zara was wearing a dress today. The night breeze caught the hem beautifully, but it was a bit chilly. "Oh, I left my jacket in the car." Seeing how lightly she was dressed, Ethan quickly took off his own jacket and offered it to her. "Here, we're mine for now." As Zara took it, Ethan's mind raced. Did his jacket smell? Was handing it over like this too forward? Too intimate? Would she find it unpleasant? But a second later, Zara had already slipped the jacket on. "Thanks, that's so thoughtful of you. Whoever gets to be your wife will be incredibly lucky." Faced with Zara's playful teasing, the kind he usually deflected, Ethan surprised himself by saying, "But aren't you my wife?" The words hung in the air, stunning them both. Zara stopped walking and looked up at him. Under the dim yellow glow of the streetlight, their elongated shadows stretched out at their feet, overlapping. Zara found herself envying the shadows. At least they could be this close. Ethan snapped back to reality, hastily starting, "I mean..." Zara nodded. "I know what you mean, but technically you're right. I am your wife, so I guess I am lucky." Ethan's gaze deepened as he looked at Zara's soft features. They resumed walking, and Zara took the initiative to ask about Ethan's work. "Did filming go well today? Are you tired?" "Not tired. It went very smoothly." "What made you decide to become an actor?" "I wasn't planning on becoming an actor back then. I just wanted to earn enough money to get by, and acting seemed like the best option available to me at the time." "So, do you enjoy acting?" Ethan shook his head. "I don't know. You don't know. For me, acting is about experiencing different lives. Sometimes I enjoy it, sometimes I don't." Zara nodded. "If you were to stop acting, what would you plan to do?" "I haven't really thought about it." The path of an actor stretched far ahead. If he weren't acting, he'd continue writing novels, become a screenwriter, maybe a film producer. If he could, he wanted to use his remaining energy to help others who had faced similar struggles. Take the current film, for instance. Apart from Alice Taylor, all the actors Ethan had cast were on the verge of leaving the industry, unable to find roles. One actress, for example, had a promising early career releasing music and starring in dramas. But her family dragged her down, demanding money for houses, cars, and supporting her younger brother. When she refused, they smeared her reputation, spread rumors, and even secretly installed a camera in her bedroom to take private photos for blackmail. Though innocent, she became embroiled in scandal, facing constant online attacks, ultimately leaving her unemployable. No one dared to hire her. Seeing Zara's curiosity about his life on set, Ethan shared more stories with her. Time flew by as they walked and talked. Noticing they were completely alone, Ethan pulled out his phone to check the time. "Wow, it's already 11, he exclaimed. Ethan showed the phone to Zara. 11 o'clock. Zara was surprised. "It's that late already? We should head back. I have work tomorrow." Once inside the elevator, Zara realized how sore her feet were. She was wearing new shoes, and the heels were starting to rub. She shifted uncomfortably. Even that slight movement caught Ethan's attention. Are your feet bothering you? No, it's just the shoes rubbing a little. Zara lifted one foot to feel her heel. It's okay. The skin isn't broken. Worried she might lose her balance, Ethan offered her his arm for support, helping her all the way back to their apartment. Back inside, Zara immediately kicked off her shoes and sank onto the sofa. Her eyes casually drifted towards the balcony, where she noticed the previously empty plant stand was now full of greenery. At first, she thought her eyes were playing tricks on her, but when she walked closer, she saw they were all gardenias. Zara asked excitedly, "Ethan, did you buy these gardenias?" Ethan replied calmly, "Yeah, I passed a flower shop today and saw they had some gardenias out front, so I bought them all." "So many." Zara crouched down, examining each pot lovingly, gently poking a leaf here and there. "But I have such a black thumb." Ethan stood behind her. "Don't worry, I'll take care of them from now on." Zara's expression softened. "Okay, I'll leave them in your care then." Not just the gardenias, she thought, asterisk, but also asterisk. After admiring the flowers, they said goodnight. It was only when Zara was back in her bedroom that she realized she was still wearing Ethan's jacket. Oh well, she thought, asterisk, I'm not giving it back. Asterisk, she had meant to keep it anyway. The jacket still seemed to hold his warmth and scent. Sitting on her bed, she hugged it close, pressing her face against the fabric. Ethan didn't wear cologne, just the clean scent of laundry detergent. It smelled comforting. Downstairs, Zara Sinclair hadn't dared to show how happy she was. Ethan had no idea how thrilled she'd felt when he took off his jacket and handed it to her. Ethan's jacket was loose on her, the hem falling below her hips. Zara folded Ethan's jacket carefully and placed it beside her pillow. Then, she pulled a photo out from under the pillow. It was her wedding picture with Ethan. It was their only photo together, and she'd printed multiple copies. Some were shrunk down to fit in her wallet. One was framed on her nightstand. She looked at it every night before falling asleep, and another was in her office at work. As for their marriage certificate, that was safely locked away in a safe. Zara gazed at Ethan's face in the photo, tracing it with her finger. She gently picked up the jacket beside her, hugging it close. As she looked at the picture, she drifted off to sleep. The next morning when Zara woke up, Ethan was already gone. Zara ate the Denver omelet Ethan had prepared for her and got ready for work. As she was putting on her shoes, she noticed heel protectors stuck inside the pair she'd worn yesterday. On the most visible shelf of the shoe cabinet, there was also a box of bandages and iodine swabs. Because the shoes had rubbed her feet raw, Zara hadn't planned on wearing them today. She sat on the bench and slipped them on. With the soft silicone pads inside, they didn't chafe anymore. Zara took a couple of pictures with her phone and sent them to Ethan, asking coyly, "Did you put the heel protectors in my shoes? And were the bandages and iodine swabs in the cabinet from you too?" A little while later, Ethan replied, "Try them on. Do they still rub?" "No, they don't. Put the bandages on too, just in case. Double protection." Seeing Ethan's message, Zara immediately stuck 2 bandages onto her heels and sent Ethan a voice message. "I put them on. Thanks, Ethan, you're so sweet." Her voice was syrupy sweet, almost unlike her. When Ethan saw Zara's last message was a voice note, he tapped it without thinking. He'd forgotten his phone volume was turned all the way up. As soon as it played, everyone around him heard it. As if sensing gossip, heads turned in his direction. Alice Taylor had the strongest reaction. "Who was that? A friend of yours?" She really wanted to ask if it was his girlfriend, but she was afraid she wouldn't like the answer. Ethan nonchalantly put his phone down. "No." Alice didn't relax. Her intuition told her Ethan's relationship with the woman on the phone was anything but ordinary. Alice's mind was racing. After staring at Ethan for a moment, she changed the subject. "Don't take what my brother said yesterday to heart. That's just how he is." "Is it genetic?" The question made Alice freeze. "What?" Ethan offered a fake smile, his eyes sharp. "If it's genetic, it means he's got a problem, and problems should be treated. If it's not genetic, it just means he runs his mouth. But don't worry, I won't take it to heart. After all, not just anyone gets to occupy space in my heart." Alice unconsciously clenched her fists. She wanted to look at Ethan, but didn't dare meet his gaze, hastily lowering her head and digging her nails into her palms. What Ethan said didn't seem to be just about her brother, Lucas Taylor. Ethan drank a cup of coffee. It was bitter. Usually, he'd add a lot of sugar to mask the taste. He needed to work out for the upcoming scenes. Although he had muscle, it didn't look defined enough on the big screen. His muscle definition needed to be enhanced. Ethan was extremely dedicated. He'd adjust his physical condition for a role, whether it meant rigorously training for 8-pack abs or slimming down to look gaunt. Ethan decided to focus on building muscle first, then cut down later for the subsequent scenes. Today was primarily for filming Alice's scenes. Even though Ethan wasn't on camera, he'd be nearby, helping her get into the right emotional state. Alice was also a naturally talented actress. Things that seemed difficult often clicked for her after just a little guidance. Ethan was used to life on set, a routine triangle between filming, going to Seabreeze General Hospital, and going home. It was monotonous, but fulfilling. When he went to Seabreeze General Hospital to visit Emily Young, he'd also visit Grandma Wood and chat with the old woman. Zara did the same. Half a month had passed in the blink of an eye since they got their marriage license, but Zara still hadn't told her grandmother that she and Ethan were married. Dr. Johnson had said Grandma Wood's health was too fragile for any major shocks, whether good or bad. Zara getting married so suddenly, even though it was to the man her grandmother had chosen, was too fast. She worried her grandmother might overthink things affecting her health. Also, she'd recently seen a video about a terminally ill person who clung to life because of unfinished business, only to pass away once their wish was fulfilled. She didn't want that for her grandmother. Ethan hadn't asked many questions, perhaps because he understood, or perhaps because he didn't care. They acted naturally around each other, so they didn't need to put on a performance in front of Grandma Wood. When Grandma Wood had free time, she loved to gossip, asking them about living together if they were used to it, and if living together meant sleeping together. She knew better than to ask this in front of Ethan, so she'd whisper it to Zara. Grandma isn't old-fashioned. When young people are in love and it feels right, every day is spring. I still recommend having children after you're married, but if you're not planning on kids, make sure you use protection. But sometimes Grandma Wood was bold enough to bring things up right in front of Ethan, and Zara almost lost her composure. Grandma wasn't just not old-fashioned. She was overly open, even wanting to inquire about Ethan's physical condition. Ethan, dear, what kind of water do you usually drink at work? Bottled water. Bottled water is good. You should drink fewer sugary drinks. They're bad for you, especially things like cola, you know? Ethan didn't catch the subtext, thinking Grandma Wood was genuinely concerned about his general health. He nodded. I don't like cola. Zara, however, instantly understood what her grandmother meant. She sighed. Grandma, stop grilling him and worry about yourself. Who's always begging for little cakes and cookies? Asking Nurse Wilson to buy milk tea. Grandma Wood retorted indignantly. I might want to eat them, but I don't. Besides, I'm just showing concern for Ethan and for your married life. Ethan doesn't mind, so why are you making such a fuss? Right, Ethan? Ethan quickly agreed, right? Grandma Wood then asked, Ethan, are there any foods you avoid? Zara jumped in. He doesn't eat green onions. What about cilantro? Ethan answered, I eat cilantro. If they went for hot pot, he'd order a large portion of it just to eat as a vegetable. Then you should eat less of it. Grandma Wood gave him a meaningful look. Listen to Grandma. You can't go wrong. Zara didn't know whether to laugh or cry. Grandma, you meddle in everything. Grandma Wood hinted slyly. If you don't believe me, look up cilantro's other name. Then you'll know what I mean. Prompted by her grandmother, Zara curiously searched for it online. Why men should eat less cilantro, because it's also known as impotence grass, and eating too much supposedly leads to, well, a performance lasting only 3 seconds. Her grandma really did think ahead about her married life, always considering things more thoroughly and comprehensively than most people. It just goes to show, doesn't it? The older, the wiser. Ethan Young asked curiously, You search for it? Does it mean anything? Grandma Wood gave him a knowing look, a teasing smile playing on her lips. Zara Sinclair shot her grandmother a playful, warning glance, then put down her phone and said to Ethan Young, Don't listen to her. It doesn't mean anything. You don't need to see it. That only made Ethan Young more curious. Grandma Wood cleared her throat twice, putting on a serious expression to change the subject. Serena Sinclair's birthday gala is in 2 days. Are you planning to go back? The sudden mention of Serena Sinclair caught both Zara Sinclair and Ethan Young off guard. Ethan Young, especially, took a moment to recall that Serena Sinclair's birthday was indeed the day after tomorrow. In previous years, he would have already started preparing, making sure to cook a bowl of longevity noodles just the way Serena Sinclair liked them before her birthday arrived. Zara Sinclair didn't want to go. While she didn't exactly despise the Sinclairs, she certainly had no affection for them. Why put on a friendly face and invite unnecessary trouble? Mr. and Mrs. Sinclair, aware of her feelings, had already called her earlier this year, asking her to attend. Zara Sinclair said, My dad called. He told me I have to go. Grandma Wood knew Zara didn't want to go. She sighed. Well, I have to go too. You can come with me. If anything happened, she could back Zara up. Zara Sinclair didn't need backup. She wasn't afraid of the Sinclairs. Her reluctance stemmed purely from dislike, not avoidance. Zara Sinclair smiled. All right, then the two of us will go together. But once we're there, I'll have to watch you like a hawk. No cake allowed. Grandma would pouted, clearly displeased. And so it was settled. On the day of Serena Sinclair's birthday gala, Alice Taylor was also planning to attend. She had already arranged time off with the film crew. They only filmed Ethan Young's scenes that day, wrapping them up by noon. Ethan Young went straight home. Seeing he had plenty of time, he decided to cook something nice and bring it over to Pinecrest Rehabilitation Center to visit Emily Young. Just as he entered Seabreeze General Hospital, he spotted someone familiar, Zachary Carter. He hadn't seen him in over half a month, and Zachary Carter looked like he'd lost a significant amount of weight, slumped listlessly on a chair. Ethan Young had planned to just walk past, pretending not to notice, but Zachary Carter suddenly looked up, and their eyes met. Zachary Carter blinked, then slowly stood up. Ethan Young, what are you doing here? His eyes fell on the insulated container in Ethan's hand. Visiting someone? Is your sister still here? Ethan Young kept his expression neutral. Not my sister. A friend. Zachary Carter worked for Serena Sinclair, so naturally, Ethan wasn't about to tell him his sister was still admitted here. Zachary Carter seemed to believe him. This hospital was notoriously expensive. Even the standard rooms cost a fortune. Given Ethan Young's current circumstances, it seemed unlikely he could afford it for his sister long-term. Ethan Young noted Zachary Carter's dark circles, gesturing towards his own eyes. Wow, it hasn't even been that long. You've lost a lot of weight, and look at those dark circles. At the mention of this, Zachary Carter just shook his head. He'd known since his first interview that Serena Sinclair wasn't easy to work with. Serena Sinclair's defining trait was being incredibly high maintenance and demanding. He could understand a pampered heiress having personality quirks, but the problem was how it affected everyone else. When she was in a bad mood, she made sure to torture everyone around her. If she wasn't happy, nobody was allowed to be happy. When Ethan Young had been around, he'd absorbed more than half of her outbursts. Since he left, Serena's temper had become even more volatile. She lashed out arbitrarily at the office, leaving the staff walking on eggshells. If it wasn't for needing to support his family, Zachary Carter would have quit already. Ms. Sinclair just took over the company recently, Zachary explained, and she's overwhelmed with everything, which means I'm swamped too. Honestly, I wasn't feeling great myself, so I came to pick up some medication and grab some for her while I was here. Ethan Young glanced at the prescription slip in Zachary Carter's hand and noticed medication for anxiety. Are you doing okay these days? Before Ethan Young could reply, Zachary Carter looked closely at his face and remarked, You look like you're doing great. Your complexion's better, and you look stronger. It seemed his recent workouts were paying off if it was that noticeable. Before, Zachary Carter had pitted Ethan Young. Now, he found himself feeling envious. Ms. Sinclair is having someone look into which hospital your sister is in. Zachary lowered his voice. I don't know why, but being on her radar is never good news. You should be careful. At the mention of Emily Young, Ethan Young immediately tensed up. Zachary Carter patted his shoulder reassuringly. Don't worry too much. She's incredibly busy right now. Hasn't got time to focus on you too. They won't find anything right away. I just wanted to give you a heads up. Ethan Young thanked him sincerely. Thanks for the warning. I appreciate it. Zachary Carter suddenly asked, By the way, did you move recently? You went looking for me? It wasn't me looking, Ms. Sinclair ordered me to find out what you've been up to. I accidentally overheard her on the phone once, saying she wanted to make sure you couldn't survive in the entertainment industry, couldn't get any roles. Stuff like that. She's trying to force you back, but she's too proud to ask you herself, so she sent me to try and talk you into it. I went by your old place a few times, but you were never there. Figured you must have moved. It's probably for the best. Avoids being targeted constantly. Ethan. Zachary Carter paused, his tone becoming serious. You should leave Maplewood. Go somewhere far away where no one knows you or your sister. Find a different hospital. Ethan Young scoffed. I haven't committed any crime. Why should I have to run and hide with my sister? He'd grown up in this city, lived here his whole life. Why should he be forced to leave just because of Serena Sinclair? He knew Zachary Carter meant well. After all, Serena Sinclair was practically haunting him, fighting him at every turn. If Ethan hadn't managed to gain some independence and resources, he probably would have ended up right back under her thumb. Thankfully, during that 5-year contract, he'd seen her true colors and made plans accordingly, preventing her from continuing to control him. Well, figure out what you want to do, Zachary sighed. I'm just warning you. The only reason she hasn't come after you directly lately is because she's swamped. Once things calm down, Zachary Carter gave him a look that was both resigned and ominous. Ethan Young nodded, understanding the implication. After chatting a bit longer, Zachary Carter stuffed the prescription slip into his pocket and waved. I'm going to get the medicine now. Don't worry, I won't tell Miss Sinclair I saw you. Zachary Carter wasn't stupid. He'd lasted this long at the company thanks to his competence and his ability to read situations and people. By the end of their conversation, he had a subtle feeling that Ethan's sister might still be in this very hospital. He had no idea where Ethan Young had found the money or connections, but the crucial thing was that after all this time, Serena Sinclair still hadn't managed to find out anything. Ethan Young noticed a fresh-looking cut on the back of Zachary Carter's hand. What happened to your hand? Zachary Carter lifted his hand, looking miserable. Ms. Sinclair threw a massive tantrum yesterday. Smashed up her whole office. I was just standing there. Got hit by a flying piece of ceramic. Lucky it was just my hand. Definitely a workplace injury. Ethan Young said, That sounds rough. Sorry you have to deal with that. Zachary Carter gave a bitter smile. Doesn't even compare to what you used to put up with. It was easy to be dismissive before, but Zachary Carter hadn't truly grasped how difficult things had been for Ethan until he experienced a taste of it himself. It just proved there's no such thing as truly understanding someone else's suffering. Empathy often feels like watching a fire from the safe distance of the opposite riverbank. Zachary Carter was willing to show Ethan Young some kindness, thinking that helping out a bit now might mean someone would lend him a hand if he ever needed it. Zachary was the only person Ethan hadn't blocked. These past few days, under Serena Sinclair's arrangements, Zachary could have called Ethan directly to ask him out, but he hadn't called once. Ethan Young watched Zachary Carter leave before heading towards the elevator. He had called ahead, so Emily Young knew Ethan was bringing good food and had only eaten a little for lunch. The siblings could talk about anything, but Emily was still most focused on Ethan's acting career. Knowing Ethan had landed a role made her happier than anyone. Ethan Young had changed quite a bit lately. You could visibly see his complexion had improved. Before, when facing her, Ethan would only pretend to be doing well, but the fatigue in his eyes couldn't be hidden. But now that was gone. He seemed relaxed from the inside out. Emily Young had always worried she was holding her brother back. When their parents died, she had thought about suicide, but her brother had snapped her out of it with a slap. She was a burden, a nuisance in everyone else's words. People said someone like her would be better off dead. You know about camels, right? How strong their endurance is, carrying heavy loads under pressure. But it often only takes a single straw to break a camel's back. She was afraid of becoming that last straw for her brother. No matter how hard life got, her brother never thought of abandoning her. He said she wasn't his burden. She was his sister, the little sister he watched grow up, his only family left in the world. Back then, Ethan Young himself was barely hanging on, wasn't he? He wanted his sister to live, and he wanted to live too. Brother, I feel like you've changed. How have I changed? You're better. More energy. You've gained some weight. Besides acting, has something else good happened to you lately? Emily Young was happy about Ethan's improvement and curious about what caused it. Ethan Young instantly thought of Zara Sinclair. He nodded, a smile unconsciously lifting the corners of his mouth. Sort of, I guess. The Sinclair family. Serena Sinclair's 25th birthday was personally planned by her, with the kind of vibe young people liked, including a ball in the evening. Serena Sinclair hadn't been in a good mood lately, and the stress leading up to the birthday gala had given her a canker sore. The reason for her anger wasn't just Ethan Young, but also the film company she had recently taken over. Film projects required enormous amounts of time and money. Finding the right IP, revising scripts, finding a team, set design, casting actors, and signing contracts for their fees. Even after filming wrapped, it wasn't over. There was post-production, marketing, promotion, and smoothing things over with connections upstairs. It could easily cost $20 a million. Several films released this year had underperformed, leaving the company's books in the red. With the end of the year approaching, Serena Sinclair could only pin her hopes on the last film. It was a comedy starring popular actors, set for release during the Spring Festival. Based on the information circulating about other films slated for that period, she felt none of them could compete in terms of their core teams. She was confident this movie would achieve great results and recoup the year's losses. Only with funds could she continue investing and fulfill the upcoming performance-based contract. She wouldn't give Zara Sinclair the chance to inherit the Sinclair family business. The Sinclair family was her home. Her mom and dad belonged only to her. To Serena, Zara Sinclair was just a thief who had barged into her home midway through. She had to win this performance-based contract, inherit the family business and style, and then completely crush Zara Sinclair underfoot, ensuring she could never recover. Serena Sinclair was confident she could beat Zara Sinclair. After all, the food company Zara had taken over had been losing money for years. It had long since lost its national recognition. The products tasted bad, had a poor reputation, weren't stocked by major supermarkets, and had poor online sales. No matter how much funding Zara had, it would vanish like water down the drain. Serena suspected the company would declare bankruptcy within 2 years, and Zara would be eliminated from the competition. The thought of finally defeating Zara Sinclair made the blood in Serena's veins seem to boil, excitement spreading through every corner of her body. She had deliberately asked her father to call Zara Sinclair back for tonight's birthday gala. So what if Zara had made money abroad? Coming back, she'd still just be Serena's foil. No matter how much she achieved, the family still wouldn't value her. Just look back for 6 years, and not even a ribbon-cutting ceremony, let alone a celebratory banquet. Nobody cared about her. Serena had told Zara Sinclair long ago. In the Sinclair family, getting mom and dad's love was the only truth that mattered. For tonight, Serena Sinclair had spent a fortune on a custom gown, a blue dress, elegant and noble. The jewelry she wore was a birthday gift from her mother, valued at $15 million. She also wore the bracelet Lucas Taylor had given her. It was a style she liked, one she'd seen in a magazine. She'd seen the price too. A $200,000 bracelet wasn't cheap, but she was sensitive to the number 200,000 because that's how much she had given Ethan Young when he left, saying he wasn't worth more. Knowing what she knew now, she shouldn't have even given him the $200,000. With everything going on recently, she hadn't thought much about Ethan Young, but whenever things quieted down, his image would push its way into her mind, firmly occupying a space there. Especially now, during her birthday gala, surrounded by the same crowd of people offering blessings and gifts as always, the only one missing was Ethan Young. Every year, Ethan would prepare a bowl of noodles for her in advance. The noodles he made were the best she had ever tasted. This year, no one made her noodles. The birthday felt like something was missing, incomplete. Serena Sinclair toyed with the bracelet on her left wrist, lost in thought. Maybe for her birthday wish this year, she'd wish for Ethan Young to come back and be her dog again. After the birthday, she would go find him. Unable to land any acting roles, he must be struggling terribly by now. By 4 in the afternoon, most of the guests had arrived. Serena Sinclair looked around, but didn't see Zara Sinclair yet, deciding to embarrass her. She instructed the servants and staff at the door not to let Zara Sinclair in when she arrived. The household servant hesitated, afraid of being blamed. Serena waved it off carelessly. She's been away from home for so many years, just pretend you don't recognize her. Treat her like some fake socialite trying to sneak in and have security throw her out. The servant had no choice. Facing Serena Sinclair's fierce glare, he agreed, breaking out in a cold sweat. Satisfied, Serena Sinclair headed back inside and ran right into Lucas Taylor. "Serena, aren't you cold-dressed like that?" Lucas Taylor asked, looking at her bare arms. Although she wasn't in a good mood, Serena Sinclair was still willing to put on a pleasant face for Lucas Taylor. Her voice softened. "I'm not cold. What are you doing out here? Were you looking for me?" Lucas Taylor didn't answer, instead asking, "Why isn't Zara Sinclair here yet?" Was Lucas Taylor here for Zara Sinclair? Serena Sinclair felt a surge of annoyance. As far as she was concerned, Lucas Taylor was her fiancé, her man. His eyes should only be for her, not any other woman, and definitely not for Zara Sinclair, whom she despised the most. She could tolerate it at first, but hearing Lucas Taylor mention Zara Sinclair so often was starting to get on her nerves. "Why do you care about her?" Lucas Taylor remained composed, speaking calmly. "She's still your sister, after all." "No, she's not. You know perfectly well, I hate her." Lucas Taylor was momentarily speechless. He knew Serena hated Zara, but that was all before the 5-year contract. He hadn't expected Serena to still be so petty after all this time, acting like she hadn't grown up at all. Faced with this side of Serena, Lucas felt a flicker of impatience, but he needed her to get closer to Zara, so he forced himself to hold back for now. "Serena, just because you don't acknowledge it doesn't mean she isn't your sister. You both share the Sinclair name. You're full sisters from the same parents. Why are you so hostile towards her? It's better to have another family member than another enemy. Sinclair Group will need both of you working together in the future." Lucas Taylor spoke gently, but the more Serena listened, the more irritated she became. "Lucas Taylor, you're my boyfriend. All you need to do is stand by my side. I don't need a lecture from you. What business is it of yours how Zara and I get along? As for Sinclair Group, it should belong solely to me. Why on earth should I share it with her?" "Lucas Taylor, you're being utterly unreasonable. What about me?" Serena's anger flared. "Lucas Taylor, I've put up with you for long enough. Ever since you got back, all you do is talk about Zara Sinclair and defend her. Don't you forget, Today is my birthday gala. Lucas Taylor's attitude instantly turned cold. Forget it. Today was supposed to be about celebrating your birthday. About Zara. She helped me a lot while she was abroad. I'm just grateful to her. Since you don't want to hear about her, I won't mention her again. Serena stared straight ahead. After hearing him out, she let out a sneering, sarcastic laugh. Oh, what exactly did she help you with? Do tell. She hadn't thought much of it until she asked. Then it suddenly struck Serena. Lucas Taylor and Zara Sinclair had been in the same city and country. Why? Could they have gotten together behind her back? Where she couldn't see them, maybe they had meals together, hung out together, maybe even lived together. The more Serena thought about it, the sicker she felt, her eyes filling with suspicion as she looked at Lucas Taylor. Under Serena's sharp gaze, Lucas felt a twinge of guilt. Why are you looking at me like that? I'm just curious. Out of all the countries back then, why did you choose country? Why specifically? Who exactly was there in country? Why? Lucas feigned nonchalance. No one. I just like the country. Did you and Zara Sinclair live near each other? Not close. This was true. To Zara, he was practically a stranger. He was always the one calling her, contacting her, then traveling a long way just to see her. So, his claim that Zara had helped him was false. However, there was one time he'd been in a car accident, and it was Zara Sinclair's driver who called the ambulance that took him to Seabreeze General Hospital. That, he thought, could count as Zara helping him indirectly. During the 5-year contract, how many times did you meet her? How much did you talk? Serena didn't fully believe Lucas. Sometimes a woman's intuition is just that sharp. Once suspicion takes root, it's as good as a conviction. As the two stood deadlocked in the doorway, there was a commotion outside. Zara Sinclair had arrived. The servants hadn't stopped her, nor did they dare to, because she came in with Grandma Wood. Serena looked over, her eyes landing first on Zara Sinclair, only then shifting to her grandmother. She hated anyone who liked Zara Sinclair, including her own grandmother. That was why, even knowing her grandmother was unwell and hospitalized at Seabreeze General Hospital, she hadn't bothered to visit her. Their supposed grandparent-grandchild bond was purely superficial. Serena grudgingly called out, "Grandma." Grandma Wood nodded with a simple showing little reaction, merely tightening her grip on Zara Sinclair's hand. Zara Sinclair smiled faintly. Though it was just a simple, neutral expression, Serena felt like Zara was provoking her. Her face suddenly darkened, her eyes filled with a deep chill. As for Lucas Taylor standing nearby, his eyes lit up the moment he saw Zara Sinclair. No matter how many times he saw her, he was always stunned by her beauty. Zara Sinclair's gown tonight had been chosen by Grandma Wood, a deep green satin long dress with a flared, umbrella-like skirt. Every step she took seemed to bloom, a refreshing sight to behold. Green is very flattering to the complexion. Zara, already fair-skinned, seemed almost luminous under the lights, capturing nearly everyone's attention the moment she appeared. So that's Zara Sinclair? She's really beautiful. The eldest Sinclair daughter is definitely prettier than the second daughter. Her fashion sense is better too. I heard she was expanding a market abroad before, made a lot of money. Not only is she beautiful, but she's also incredibly capable. Goes to show, even with the same parents, there could be a big difference between sisters. These whispered comments from the crowd continuously reached Serena Sinclair's ears. She clenched her fists tightly. She had originally planned to put Zara Sinclair in her place today, but unexpectedly, she was the one losing face first. "Sister, Dad said we should have my birthday gala first, and then hold a welcome gala for you later. You don't mind, do you?" Zara Sinclair smiled. "Not at all." She walked over and handed Serena a gift bag. "A present for you." "What is this?" Serena asked as she opened it. Zara replied, "Denver omelet." Serena froze, her eyes narrowing. "Denver omelet? Don't you like it? I specifically chose this tea based on your tastes. Asterisk bought it at the supermarket downstairs, $39. Not a bag after discount. Put in a nice box, and suddenly $39. 9 becomes $39, $9.99. What a steal. Asterisk. Serena threw the box, labeled Denver omelet, straight onto the floor. "I don't drink tea." Zara looked at the tea leaves scattered on the floor. Asterisk, what a waste of $39. 9. Should have just bought the 9. 90 free shipping kind online. Asterisk, true. People often don't need what they already have in abundance. Like you already have your own. Bitterness. Pity. An aged tea cake can fetch a high price, but decades-old trash, even coated in tea powder, still looks cheap. Zara Sinclair, don't push it too far. If there weren't so many people around, Serena would have lunged forward and slapped that mouth shut. "Oh, I wasn't talking about you. Don't assume it applies." Zara affectionately linked arms with her grandmother. Grandma, it's windy out here. Let's go inside. Passing by Serena Sinclair, Zara deliberately slowed her pace and lowered her voice. So what if I push it too far? Serena didn't say a word, simmering with frustration, her glare looking like she wanted to hit Zara. A faint curve lifted Zara Sinclair's red lips. Her voice was soft yet resonant. Even if I do, you'll just have to endure it. You just have to put up with me, even if I go too far. Zara Sinclair offered a ghost of a smile, but her tone was sharp, her dark eyes exerting an unseen pressure. Zara Sinclair walked in, arm in arm with her grandmother, found them a seat, and asked someone to bring hot water. People stared as she passed, but her expression remained unchanged. She was clearly used to it. Lucas Taylor watched from the side, mesmerized. Zara Sinclair was truly beautiful. He wanted to go over, say hello, maybe chat for a bit, or at least make a good impression on Grandma would. Her grandmother was the person Zara cared about most. If Grandma would took a liking to him, perhaps he'd have an advantage. In the end, Lucas Taylor didn't get the chance to approach Zara Sinclair because she was called away. Zara Sinclair was summoned to the reception room by Mr. and Mrs. Sinclair. When mother and daughter met, there was no warmth between them. They looked at each other like strangers. Glancing around as she walked, Zara entered the room and casually found a seat. Well, what is it? Dressed to celebrate their younger daughter's birthday, Mr. and Mrs. Sinclair looked particularly grand today, their combined attire easily worth 8 figures, the picture of high society. It wasn't even Harvest Festival, yet they looked like Christmas trees that had come to life. Dispensing with any warmth, Mrs. Sinclair immediately launched into a lecture. Zara Sinclair, do you even acknowledge me as your mother? You've been back so long without visiting home, and now that you're finally here, you don't even call me Mom? Zara crossed her long legs, replying with casual indifference. Mom. Satisfied now. Mrs. Sinclair's voice immediately turned shrill. What kind of attitude is that? I'm matching your attitude. Zara suddenly found the exchange tedious. She slowly smoothed her skirt and stood up. If there's nothing else, I'll be going. Stop right there. Mrs. Sinclair rushed furiously in front of her, blocking her path. Your father told me about the performance-based contract between you two. You've already established yourself abroad. Why come back and compete with your sister? Just concede defeat on the contract. That Sinclair Foods has been losing money for years. It's a lost cause. Continuing will just waste money. The Sinclair family money doesn't grow on trees. We can't let you squander it like this. Withdraw from the competition. Let your sister have the Sinclair family inheritance. As for you, I've arranged some potential marriage partners for you to consider. You're already 28, not getting any younger. It's hard to find a good man at your age, so don't be picky. By the time I was your age, I was already married with children. All of Mrs. Sinclair's shrewdness seemed reserved for keeping her husband. How else could she say such things? Zara didn't hide her contempt. First, Zara said, I'm not competing with her. Grandpa's will clearly stated that the most capable person becomes the Sinclair family heir. It's a fair competition based on merit. Second, what business is it of yours whether I get married at 28? You seem so anxious about it. Why don't you and Serena get married together? You can't go back to being 28, of course, but 50 is a prime age for striving. You could really go for it with a second marriage, maybe even pop out a third kid. You? Me what? Zara crossed her arms, a sharp edge to her smile. For someone like you, with no ambition beyond marriage, what else do you have? Instead of worrying about me, perhaps you should worry about your husband. You know what they say about cheating? It's either 0 times or countless times. And father? He'll definitely cheat again. This wasn't just alarmist speculation on her part. Zara was smiling, but it didn't reach her eyes. To Mrs. Sinclair, it was pure mockery, and her aversion was palpable. Zara Sinclair, how dare you speak to me like that? Is this how your grandmother taught you to treat your elders? So disrespectful. You were never as obedient or sensible as your sister. I get it from you, Zara retorted. You don't respect your elders, so I don't respect you. Grandma has been in Seabreeze General Hospital for so long. Have you shown her any concern at all? Mrs. Sinclair spat out recklessly. Why should I care about that old hag? Mrs. Sinclair despised Grandma Wood. Years ago when Mr. Sinclair had cheated, she had asked the old woman to persuade him to come back to the family. Instead, Grandma Wood had advised her to divorce him, claiming it was for her own good, spouting all sorts of self-righteous nonsense. In reality, Mrs. Sinclair believed the old woman simply looked down on her and wanted to ruin her marriage so Mr. Sinclair could bring his mistress home. But she had persevered, and she was still Mrs. Sinclair, loved by her husband and daughter. Except, of course, for this curse standing before her now. The malice in Mrs. Sinclair's eyes practically spilled over. I don't even know why I bothered having you. Zara Sinclair retorted. It's a bit late to strangle me now. Zara Sinclair, are you trying to kill me with anger? A bright smile spread across Zara Sinclair's lips as she started clapping slowly. If I could actually anger you to death, that would be wonderful. And if I don't quite manage it, perhaps you could try jumping off a building? Hanging yourself? Slitting your wrists? You really should learn how to die properly. Seeing Zara's cold indifference, her utter refusal to be swayed by threat or plea, Mrs. Sinclair's pent-up resentment boiled over. Abandoning all pretense of decorum, she lunged forward, hand raised to strike her. Zara easily dodged the blow. Mrs. Sinclair stumbled, nearly falling, catching herself on the sofa. She whipped around, glaring. You dare dodge? Just stand here and let you hit me? Do you take me for an idiot? Zara laughed, then took a moment to admire the room's decor. Being a reception area, the decorations were expensive. Plants worth thousands, vases worth tens of thousands, a fish tank costing hundreds of thousands, plus calligraphy and paintings by some unknown master. Very ostentatious. She liked it so much her hand started to itch. Mrs. Sinclair, Zara said sweetly, you wouldn't want your younger daughter's birthday gala to be ruined, would you? Mrs. Sinclair frowned, not yet grasping what was coming. The next second, with a loud crash, Zara shoved the nearest vase to the floor. Seeing her mother stunned, Zara swept the ornaments off a nearby shelf, smashing them on the ground. But just smashing wasn't enough. She grabbed a stool and turned toward the fish tank. Crash, crash, crash. Eyes flashing, face contorted with rage, Zara slammed the stool into the tank again and again until it shattered. Mrs. Sinclair screamed, wanting to intervene but afraid of getting hurt. Soon, the entire reception room was devastated. Only a statue of the god of wealth remained untouched. Everything else was ruined, even the scrolls torn from the walls. Staring at the wreckage, Mrs. Sinclair's earlier disdain for her eldest daughter was replaced entirely by fear. Her lips trembled. Zara Sinclair, how could you? How dare you? You should be glad we're in the country, Zara said with a faint smile. If we were abroad, I would have pulled a gun by now. She suddenly hurled the stool toward her mother. Mrs. Sinclair shrieked and collapsed onto the floor in terror. Deep down, you know your precious Serena is useless, don't you? Zara continued calmly. You're afraid she'll lose. That's why you're so desperate for me to quit. Let me tell you something. I don't care about your family affection. All I want is the Sinclair family money. Get ready. I'm coming to take it. After delivering her parting shot, Zara elegantly smoothed her hair, lifted the hem of her skirt, and walked out with her head held high. Surveying the utter devastation, Mrs. Sinclair finally broke down sobbing. If she had known Zara was this unhinged, she never would have let her come back. Fortunately, the reception room had soundproof walls, and, combined with the noise from the party downstairs, the huge commotion went unnoticed. As soon as Zara came downstairs, she saw her grandmother eyeing the 5-tier cake, looking tempted. Asterisk ahem. Asterisk. Grandma would quickly withdrew her hand. Seeing Zara, she gave an embarrassed smile. Back already? Your mother didn't give you a hard time, did she? With you backing me up? How would she dare? Grandma would nodded. Zara had her grandfather's temper. She wouldn't stand for being slighted. Zara looked at the cake on the table. Didn't I remind you before I left? No sweets. Grandma would put on an innocent expression. I resisted. I didn't eat any. If I'd been a second later, your hand would have been right on that cake. I just wanted to smell it. I wasn't going to eat it. You're stubborn through and through. If you really want some, I'll have the cook make some sugar-free pastries tomorrow. Zara led her grandmother to find a seat in the main area. Because of Grandma Wood's status, their table companions were all from the older generation, retired executives and their wives. Zara looked somewhat out of place among them, but no one dared underestimate her. Grandma would proudly introduce Zara to everyone, saying again and again, "This is my granddaughter." Showered with compliments, Grandma would seem to lose herself in the praise, smiling so broadly her eyes nearly disappeared. As evening fell, Zara heard the sound of melodious dance music. Young people were laughing, joking, and dancing together. Yet Serena Sinclair, the guest of honor, wasn't in high spirits. When she saw her parents take Zara upstairs, she had been secretly pleased, assuming Zara was about to be disciplined. But then Zara had come back down shortly after, completely unscathed. It was her parents who looked utterly distraught, their faces pale. "Mom, what happened? You look so pale. Didn't you just call Zara Sinclair upstairs? Where is she?" At the mention of Zara, Mrs. Sinclair paled further, her lips trembling. "Don't talk to me about her," she stammered. After a pause, she added, "And you stay away from her too? If we can't provoke her, can we at least avoid her? Something must have happened during Zara's 6 years abroad. She's become completely unhinged, the way she was smashing things. It was like she wanted to kill someone." Just remembering the chilling look in her eyes sent an uncontrollable shiver down Mrs. Sinclair's spine, making her break out in a cold sweat. Serena looked worried. "Mom, what's wrong?" Mrs. Sinclair smoothed her dress. "I'm just a little cold." Asterisk cold? But the air conditioning is on, and Mom's wearing a shawl. Asterisk Serena thought. About that performance-based contract, Mrs. Sinclair continued, trying to sound reassuring. "Zara can't make too much trouble. The company she took over isn't as strong as yours. Just maintain the status quo, and she won't be able to overshadow you. Don't worry, Mom will always be on your side." But even as she said it, Mrs. Sinclair knew her daughter's limitations all too well. Zara hadn't been wrong. She was worried Serena couldn't win. Serena wasn't as smart as Zara, not as educated, not as independent, not as visionary. But what did that matter? Serena was the daughter she loved, her only daughter. Even if she had shortcomings, she was still her precious child. Besides, Mrs. Sinclair mused, asterisk, it's not like Serena has no strengths. At least she cares about her parents and knows how to be considerate. Asterisk. Serena nodded confidently. "Don't worry, Mom. I'll definitely beat Zara for the inheritance. I won't embarrass you. I'll prove to everyone that I'm just as good as she is, and that the way you raised me is better than how Grandma and Grandpa raised her." Normally, hearing that would have warmed Mrs. Sinclair's heart, but now she could only manage a strained smile. "It's good that you feel that way, dear. Go mingle with your friends. I'm going to check on Mrs. Taylor." Mrs. Taylor was Lucas Taylor's mother. "You and Lucas have been dating for years now," Mrs. Sinclair mentioned casually as she was leaving. "It's about time you two discussed marriage." Serena looked startled. "Talk about marriage now? Isn't it too soon? Don't you want to marry the man you love sooner rather than later?" Mrs. Sinclair asked. A strange flicker crossed Serena's expression, a feeling like something heavy rolling over her heart. She shook her head. "No," she murmured, but she didn't feel the expected excitement or happiness either. Even she found her own reaction puzzling. Mrs. Sinclair patted her head, gathered her shawl, and walked away. Serena hadn't managed to find out anything, and a sense of unease settled over her. She rested her chin on her hand, watching the people mingling and dancing to the music. "Serena." Alice Taylor appeared, seemingly out of nowhere, settling into the seat next to Serena with a glass of champagne. Serena glanced at her. Seeing Serena's somber expression, Alice hesitated. "Serena, are you okay? You seem upset. What is it?" Serena asked, ignoring the question. Alice hesitated, debating whether to bring up Ethan Young. Instead, she asked, "Serena, did you ever find your dog?" The question made Serena think of Ethan Young, and a cold smirk touched her lips. "Not yet, but he'll come home eventually." Alice hadn't come over to ask about the dog. She wanted to ask about Ethan Young to get things straight, but she faltered, finding it surprisingly difficult to bring him up. "If you have something to say, just spit it out. Why are you hesitating?" Serena snapped. "All right, you asked for it," Alice thought, taking a breath. "Serena, about Ethan Young, the one I mentioned before? I just don't think he seems like the type to be kept by someone. Do you have any proof? Like photos or videos?" Serena reacted sharply, almost defensively. "Ethan Young is being kept. It's a 5-year contract." "Then who's keeping him?" Alice pressed, determined to get an answer. She stared intently into Serena's eyes, trying to gauge if she was lying. Serena met her gaze earnestly, but there was a flicker of resentment Alice couldn't decipher. Serena didn't look or sound like she was lying. But based on what Alice knew of Ethan's character, he didn't seem like he'd deceive her either. So what was the truth? Serena nearly blurted out that she was the one keeping Ethan. Unable to reveal the truth, her expression turned frustrated. Alice grew impatient. "Who is it, Serena? Tell me. If you can't say who, then you're just spreading rumors about him." Serena suddenly snapped out of her frustration, turning on Alice. "Why do you care so much if people are spreading rumors about Ethan? What's it to you? Don't tell me you still have feelings for him." Serena knew Alice had developed a crush on Ethan just from seeing a photo and had tried to get information from her before. The thought that Alice was still interested in her man instantly annoyed Serena. Alice, usually so attuned to the atmosphere, completely missed Serena's irritation. Her face flushed red, embarrassed and flustered at having her crush exposed. Spreading rumors is wrong. People spread rumors about me all the time, so I hate it. And besides, I just don't think Ethan's like that. If he really had a 5-year contract with someone rich, would he be struggling so much? Suddenly, an idea struck Alice. She slapped the table lightly. I bet someone's deliberately trying to hold him back. To smear his name? Serena, you must have just heard some nasty rumors and misunderstood him. You should try getting to know him. Once you really know him, you'll see how great he is. Sounds like you know him pretty well. Serena asked, her tone sharp. Of course. Alice started enthusiastically. A chill flashed in Serena Sinclair's eyes, completely unnoticed by Alice Taylor. Of course I know him. We were just... Serena. Lucas Taylor suddenly appeared, cutting Alice Taylor off. Alice Taylor had wanted to tell Serena Sinclair that she was filming with Ethan Young right now, playing a young couple. That Ethan Young was actually a good person, not ill-tempered, bullying newcomers, or overusing stunt doubles like Serena claimed. Someone could fake it for a while, but not forever. Ethan Young was good to everyone. He helped the prop master carry equipment, assisted the cameraman, discussed the plot with the director, and even helped her run lines, offering emotional support. He'd help anyone who asked. He'd even taken care of the stray dog on set, which had gotten plump and healthy these past few days. Alice Taylor was about to explain all this to Serena Sinclair, hoping to clear up her misunderstanding about Ethan Young, when her brother suddenly showed up. Alice Taylor didn't dare mention Ethan Young again. Serena Sinclair knew she liked Ethan, and if she let it slip and her brother found out, all hell would break loose. Lucas Taylor walked over and asked, "Aren't you two going to dance?" "I'm not dancing. I have to go, something came up." Alice Taylor's heart pounded, already trying to slip away. "Running off the second I get here." Lucas Taylor caught Alice Taylor as she averted her gaze. Alice Taylor held her breath. Her only escape was to change the subject. She looked Serena Sinclair up and down, then seized on a detail. "Serena, you're wearing the bracelet my brother gave you. What about the necklace?" "What necklace?" Lucas Taylor instantly let go, his eyes warning her. "You should probably go." Alice Taylor chuckled. "All right, I'm leaving now. You two enjoy your dance." Then she bolted as if her shoes were greased. Lucas Taylor watched Alice Taylor's retreating back, running off so fast. "What were you two talking about?" Serena Sinclair didn't dare mention Ethan Young in front of Lucas Taylor either, replying vaguely, "Nothing important. Why did you come looking for me?" "I wanted to talk." Lucas Taylor sat down beside her. "My mom just asked me when I was thinking about getting married. I think it's too soon. I want to focus on my career right now." "Okay, then we'll wait." Lucas Taylor hadn't expected Serena Sinclair to agree so readily. Lucas Taylor knew Serena Sinclair had liked him since they were kids. If Zara Sinclair hadn't come along, he wouldn't have gone abroad 5 years ago. He would have followed his parents' wishes, gotten engaged and married to Serena Sinclair, and maybe they'd even have children by now. But there were no what-ifs. From the first moment he saw Zara Sinclair, he had fallen hopelessly in love with her, wanting to win her over. "Want to dance?" Serena Sinclair was still thinking about what Alice Taylor hadn't finished saying, her mind racing. She had no interest in dancing. "I don't feel like it." Lucas Taylor didn't say anything else. He flagged down a waiter, ordered a drink, and scanned the room for Zara Sinclair while sipping it. Finally, he spotted her in an inconspicuous corner. She sat there like a painting, everyone around her merely part of the background. Lucas Taylor slipped his hand into his pocket, feeling the necklace, wondering how he could give this gift to Zara Sinclair. If Zara Sinclair accepted it, then tonight he would make his feelings clear to both families. Serena Sinclair sat for a while longer, perhaps feeling bored. She stood up. "I'm going to the restroom." Lucas Taylor just grunted. Neither of them was paying attention to the other, completely missing any change in demeanor. Seeing Serena Sinclair walk away, Lucas Taylor finally saw his chance. He asked a waiter for a mask and put it on. Zara Sinclair sat close to Grandma Wood, occasionally asking how she was feeling. "Grandma, is it too noisy for you? Should we head back?" "Not at all. A little liveliness is good." Grandma Wood hadn't been out in ages and was currently deep in conversation with another elderly woman. The two old ladies were chatting about everyday things, from their children down to the younger generation. "Is this your granddaughter? Wow, she's so beautiful. How old is she? Is she married?" "My granddaughter's been pretty since she was little, just like I was when I was young. As for marriage, she hasn't tied the knot yet." Hearing she wasn't married, the other woman excitedly cut her off. "Not married? Oh, that's perfect. My grandson just got back from overseas. Top student, took over his father's business right away. 6 feet tall, handsome too. I have a picture right here. Want to hear more about him?" Grandma Would quickly waved her hands. No, thank you. My granddaughter already has a boyfriend." The other woman persisted. Don't refuse so quickly. Dating is dating, but marriage is marriage. A boyfriend is just for fun, but for marriage, you need someone from a comparable background. Grandma would chuckle. All that matters is my granddaughter's happiness. Who she chooses doesn't matter. Even if she found some pauper, it's not like our family can't support them. Zara Sinclair had been listening to conversations like this all evening, the forced smile practically cramping her face. She stood up, intending to step outside for some fresh air, when she saw a man walking towards her. The man stopped beside her, leaned in slightly, and extended his hand. Zara, may I have the honor of this dance? Zara Sinclair gave him a cool glance, as if she didn't recognize him, and frowned. Not interested. Lucas Taylor pulled down his mask. Zara, it's me. Zara Sinclair retorted bluntly. Especially if it's you. Lucas Taylor was taken aback. He'd finally gotten a chance to see her, only to find Zara Sinclair was still so cold, even colder than before. The way she looked at him when she said it, like he was an annoying fly, was a real blow to his pride. Roses are beautiful, but their thorns hurt. Lucas Taylor knew he couldn't rush things. He quickly composed himself, his face still holding a gentle smile. Zara, I saw a necklace recently that I thought would look perfect on you, so I bought it for you. As he spoke, he took a box from his pocket and opened it. Inside, a snake-shaped necklace glittered captivatingly under the lights. This necklace matches your dress perfectly. They're both green. Plus, it's the year of the snake. Do you like it? I don't like snakes. Zara Sinclair's eyes were indifferent. Besides, isn't this Serena Sinclair's birthday gala? Why are you giving me a gift? Because I didn't want you to be without a gift when others are receiving them. It was the first time he'd expressed his feelings so boldly. Saying it so directly was practically a confession. Zara Sinclair must understand what he meant now, right? With that thought, Lucas Taylor tentatively stepped forward, trying to get closer, but Zara Sinclair took a large step back, increasing the distance between them and avoiding his outstretched hand. Lucas Taylor froze, a hurt expression crossing his face. Zara, you don't have to avoid me like this. We've known each other for years. We saw each other often in Y Country. We're even friends on WhatsApp. If you don't like this necklace, just tell me what you do like. I'll get you something else. I don't like anything you'd give me. And about being WhatsApp friends, thanks for reminding me. Zara Sinclair took out her phone, found Lucas Taylor's WhatsApp contact, and then, under his stunned gaze, calmly blocked and deleted him. Not anymore.